Right, welcome back to Race Day Live here on the Racing Post with the Betfair Exchange. Oh, I'm excited today. Happy Saturday, everyone. Myself, Dave Orton. Delighted to be back with you. We've got a crossover weekend. A bit of everything for you. We're going to kick off in the 145 at Doncaster. Nice little 2-year-old listed race there. Group 1 action, of course. The final Group 1 in the UK on the flat this year, the Vertem Futurity. What a race it is. Are you with Wembley? Are you against him? Get your comments in, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook Live. Welcome. We love to get your feedback. We'll give you a shout out during the show. Who are your best, your favourite Vertem Futurity winners? I struggle to say that because, of course, it used to be called the Racing Post Trophy. We've also got some Newbury for you. The action there, thick and fast, hot, deep ground, but some really good runners there. Interesting stuff. And, of course, Cheltenham. It's back. Who else is back on the panel then? Delighted to say, what could possibly go wrong? Paul Kealy back on the panel.
How you doing?
How are we, Keels?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah.
Dry last night and full of beans.
Yeah, as I said to you, Friday night would be my normal night out.
Down the club?
I can't get the words out when I've got a hangover, so I've got to behave myself, and I do my best when I'm here.
Happy days, and we're just, it's a lovely scattergun approach today, isn't it?
Yeah, I actually love this time of year and a similar time of year in the spring when we get a bit of both. I do love me jumpers. Don't get me wrong, but I love a bit of flat racing too. And we've got a nice mix. A few 2-year-old races, some handicaps to get into, and a couple of and a decent novice chase. Yeah.
And the radar's all right, isn't it? Because we did the Champions Day here with Bruce Millington was in with me and Graham Rodway as well. And we're giving you a bit of airtime because you knocked a couple out the park.
I had a couple of winners. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'd had an awful summer. There's no making any bones about it. But Champions Day, I've tended to get a couple of winners, or at least one. Most years, and I managed to get 2 Saturday with Trushan and Yord. Balmoral, been a very good race for me down the years.
So you topping and tailed the card.
Yeah,
nice. Knocked it out the park. Trushan, oh my goodness gracious me, were you with that? Holly Doyle, what a weekend. Who got up early this morning then to watch Sir Dragonay win the Cox Plate? Unbelievable scenes. Let us know if you were up for that. Will he go and win the Melbourne Cup? Who's back from Betfair? Well, Neil Hubbard, out of his Betfair cupboard, all the way down from Grantham, joins us in the studio. Good to have you here, Neil.
Yeah, good to be back. Good to be back. And as we've sort of touched on, whatever your particular fancy is in the racing game, there's something for you this afternoon. So a really good afternoon of racing. It's in that sort of crossover period, as Paul says. So no excuses here. There's got to be something out there for you to enjoy.
You would predominantly be more of a flat fan, wouldn't you, Neil?
100%.
But we had you in for the Cheltenham week when we launched the show back in March. What a great crack then, didn't we? And you're definitely owning in on a few, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I guess if I had to pin my colours to the mast, I would definitely be a flat racing fan. But
you're in London now, you've got to say mast.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
You can't say mast.
I will pin my colours to the mast, and it would definitely be flat racing. But that said, high quality jumps racing is always to be enjoyed. So
we will make a cockney out of you yet, Neil.
That's the diplomatic answer to liking both codes, right?
And we're going to learn a bit about the exchange today. No brothers there.
Yeah, we'll do our bit and we'll see if we can win some money for charity today.
Yes, so we talk about that right from the top of the show. Who's going to be the lucky recipient?
Yeah, I think we'll go for the Injured Jockeys Fund today.
Topical, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was in the news about Saffie Osborne and the horror fall that she took. And so, not that we need reminding at all. I think that's the wrong way to put it, but it's almost like it is a reminder to what the sacrifices that the jockeys make every day for us to enjoy. So I think if we can club together and try and win some money for charity, then I think the Injured Jockeys Fund is a very worthy cause today.
Right, happy days. That went really well last week. Barry Orr was with us from afar. He got the Revenant, he took on Palace Pier, all that sort of thing. So we boosted the charity coffers there, Neil Hubbard. We're going to have some team bets as well. Perhaps you could suggest what we should be putting our team bets on. Let us know. Like I say, we've got some great interaction. Last week we were asking for your jockeys in 1, 2, 3, the top order. We had loads come in. What is your favourite memory of this Vertem Futurity or the old Racing Post Trophy? Are we with Wembley today?
It's one of those that's difficult, isn't it? I mean, he's got easily the best form. You run second in 2 Group 1s. Actually took him 4 goes to get off the mark in Maidens, didn't it? But he's found his form at the right time, and he has the best form in the race. But it's a long season too.
Can we get the market up now, just so we can have a very early look at the Vertem Futurity? This is the Group 1 that we'll be building up to here.
It's very, it's a lot softer ground than they were giving him yesterday morning, weren't they? And so it's going to be sticky. I don't think that'll necessarily bother him, but like I said, he's had a couple of hard races in Group 1.
7th run of the season.
But, 7th run. Aidan O'Brien had 7 entries at the 5-day stage, and he's come and won 1.
And what happened the last time he did this year? Rocked up in Newmarket in May and Well, the first week of June as it was actually.
Exactly, yeah.
And she was
bolted up.
There's the market then. Let's have a look. Where is he trading then, Neil Hubbard?
Yeah.
Oh, no, okay, we've got Just Frank coming up here. Can we get the...
Oh, do we
can
want
go
the
to the Vertem? We're jumping ahead of ourselves. That'll be our first live race for you at 1:45. Perhaps a tricky 2-year-old race. Let us know what you're going for in that. You've got time to get your questions in for Keels and Neil, myself. And here we are. So 2:55, we're going way ahead of ourselves, but it is a Group 1. And when we, I don't know, Paul, 282's bigger than I was expecting.
Look, yeah, I mean, look, I've backed King Vega each way, but I mean, that is, do you really want to be laying at that price? I'm not 100% sure. I think he's easily the most likely winner. It's very easy to make a case to say that, 2.82, 7.4-ish. You need bad value at all, really. He has got the best form in the race by a long way.
Yeah, this is somewhat unlike you. When I came into the office earlier, and I knew you with King Vega because we were looking in the members section of the paper. I saw your sizzlers and all that sort of thing that you put up. I was expecting you to go, no, can't have Wembley whatsoever.
No,
but actually, is it a price thing?
It was a price thing. Like I expected Wembley on the day to be near 5-4 than 7-4, though. I think he merits that sort of price. As I said, I'm quite happy with my King Vega bet. He's a bit of a drifter at the moment, but I think he definitely liked the ground. He's shaped to me like a miles better horse than he looked at that he was at Sandown.
Yeah. The drift doesn't worry me because he's not the kind of horse that his Saturday punter is going to pick up a paper or look. They're not going to immediately latch on.
Well, no one's going to lump onto a maiden in a Group 1, are they? No. It's as simple as that.
Well, Wembley's only won a maiden, hasn't he? That's Neil Hubbard. He's had a lot. I thought he was a little bit flattered by his Dewhurst run. I'm latching onto that. He got going when everything else had pretty much run its race, certainly when Thundering Moon had run its race. So
yeah, I thought he was maybe flattered by the National Stakes win, but then he almost sort of backed it up a little bit in the Dewhurst there. I sort of agree with Paul. I was expecting him to be around even money, 5-4. He's the type of horse that actually, as Paul says, they had 7 entered on Monday, I think. They rely on just one. It wouldn't be a wild guess to think the money might come on the show for him once people get stuck in.
The only thing is, they haven't really looked like they got a bunch of serious 2-year-olds, have they?
No. Have you seen the form of his 2-year-olds in the last 10 or 14 days or fortnight? The things that have been coming back from a break with 9s next day, they've been hosing up. They're going to have an avalanche of winners.
Actually brings us on nicely to a 2-year-old in the first race.
Yeah, so let's get on. Actually, we've got some socials. Great to see who's kicking off the show this Saturday, 24th of October. Thomas Joe 8. The boys in the studio will tell me how badly I've said that, no doubt, and what it actually is. Hi, watching from South Yorkshire. Welcome to Tier 3. Tier 3 today?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, you're in the right place, Thomas. Okay, which got put into Tier 3, but happy to see Cheltenham is back on. Yeah, quick word about that, chaps, because I saw some crazy, some very lefty comments about this is where it all started, so we need to, it's ridiculous.
Well, it drives you mad, right? Look, it's very easy to be able to say that Cheltenham shouldn't have gone ahead, but it's also very easy not to blame them because it did go ahead.
What about Six Nations, which Boris attended? What about the Anfield game?
It's simply a case of the government has said it's okay. Now, it's very brave and you could argue stupid business decision to decide you're not going to let anybody in while the government says it's okay. You've got no insurance, you've got no nothing. We're talking about a huge financial...
They went on government advice, didn't they?
10 days later, they were still there wasn't, put it this way, there wasn't a single pub, club, cinema, theatre that shut down before racing was shut down.
You could easily argue it was the pubs that was the problem.
It was literally, it's literally a case of the government said it was okay, so they pressed on with it.
We were in enough of them, we should know, shouldn't we?
So, exactly.
So look, we're great to have it back, and Cheltenham throughout the winter will be lifting your spirits. Let's get another social up before we go to the first at Donny. Matthew Day, good to have you on, Matthew. Okay, hi all. I was at Cheltenham last year on this day. Unhappy to be at home today, but glad we get to see the fantastic racing on offer. We are going to give you an alternative view of that. We'll be reacting to the races as they go. I'll be doing most of the calls today. Or we might mix it up a little bit. Maybe we'll get Kills to call one home. Which race would you like to see Kills commentate on?
Forerunner Novice Chase.
Everyone's going to say the Vertem now, aren't they? Everyone's going to say the Vertem. Matthew, great to have you on. Listen, stick with us. We're going to give you an alternative view. We're having a bit of fun here. We'll be putting our money where our mouth is, of course. Gamble responsibly out there, everyone. We've got loads of races today. 9 we're going to give you. We want you here at the end of the day, and we want to have a little profit going into Sunday as well. Aintree comes back tomorrow on Sunday, guys.
Aintree, old road.
Clock's back tonight.
Yeah, don't forget. Yeah.
spring, forward, fall back, isn't it? I would never
Back,
quite get that right.
Yeah, well, you could say it the other way round, and you wouldn't. You
It
wouldn't
wouldn't
bat an
make
eyelid,
any-
would you?
just an extra hour in bed.
We'd have
basically.
both nodded if you'd have said it the other way around. So
You
it
would
wouldn't
have
really
done.
matter.
All right, let's get to that first race then at Donny, as promised. This is the 145. Interesting little listed sprint, this. I say interesting because the roll call of honours, chaps, is it basically the last couple of years suggests that you're going to have a horse that's going to be placing into Group 1s and Group 2s and Group 3s. San Donato, Speaking Colours, Daman. However, if you go back to 2013, A Certain Night of Thunder won this. So Guineas winners can come out of it. Have we got one in there today? Neil Hubbard, how's the market been shaping?
Yeah, so Just Frank has been the strong favourite through the morning, but Zamani has now just nosed ahead of him. But they're sort of trading blows at the top of the market. So we've got Zamani 3.75, Just Frank 3.95, Lipizzaner 4.8, Helmont 7.2, Shark 2-1 7.4. Pretty tight between those, and then the massive outsider Intrusive is 65. But the market has dismissed him. But the other the other five, not a great deal between them, if truth be told, at least in the market.
So, okay, Neil, let's keep with you on this. Thanks for that. How was the shape of Neil Hubbard's betting brain looking at this race?
Just Frank is probably, I think he probably deserves to be favourite. Now, like his win last time at Newmarket came in a sales race. So his market rivals Zamani and Lipizzaner bring group listed form to the table. But what Just Frank achieved in that sales race is comparable, I would say, on Racing Post ratings, at least to what those other two have done. He's obviously not, he's trained by Les Ayres, and so the colours aren't as sexy, shall we say, as Zamani and Lipizzaner. And he's maybe, although he is towards the head of the market, he's probably, he could probably be a little bit shorter. He's gonna blast off in front here.
Is he?
I would suggest, like based on that Newmarket run, you would expect him to do so.
You would have thought so. I mean, it's funny. Doncaster is not a place I normally associate with front runners, but they were doing it yesterday. Okay, there was a couple from the front there yesterday. So I mean, I suppose it can depend on whether there's a strong headwind or tailwind.
I tend to agree with that on the Town Moor.
Right, yeah, but I wouldn't normally associate that with. But I mean, Just Frank was the one I did like. I thought he was pretty impressive.
2 ticks.
The others are they've had plenty of races. Now you look down this through the years, quite a few winners have only had 2 or 3 runs, and obviously some have had lots more. But Lipizzaner and Zamani have been pretty much at it all season, especially Zamani. I mean, you can't argue he probably ran his best race when second in the 2-year-old trophy. Yeah,
no, he did. Yeah, definitely.
But they're coming. They're coming on really soft ground. I think Just Frank relished it at Newmarket. It's a very tight race. I mean, Helmont has literally drifted about 2 points since we were sitting here, and he did shape really, really nicely at Haydock.
Yeah.
He did only run to an RPO of 81, I think. He's probably valued for a good bit more than that, and he's entitled to improve again. And he's a big, powerful-looking horse as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
they're at the start. So Helmont, can he bridge the gap form-wise? He had Cope behind him that day who he beat in nose. That's gone in again since on the all-weather significantly. Finally won on the all-weather. And the third has since come out and won.
Look, it's a good bit of form. He might
just been underrated.
He's getting very weak at the same time that Zamani is getting very strong.
Well, let's place a bet then, Neil. I think you and Kills like Just Frank. So should we give a big shout to Les Ayres in the first? You think? This has been obviously waiting for that sales race, hasn't it? But he blew them apart.
I just think with Just Frank, in terms of conditions and how the race is run, he shouldn't necessarily have any excuses. I mean, if he's not good enough, he's not good enough. But I think on the balance of what we know, he's going to have things go his way, really. So he's 4.6 on the exchange at the minute, which is 7-2. So we're just going to place a back bet. So a traditional back bet. We'll add that to the bet slip at 4.6. And we'll have £25 on him at 4.6 there. He's just come into 4.5 there. So he's around 7-2, and we'll have £25 on him there to hopefully get things off to a winning start. I think for all of the reasons you've sort of questioned perhaps Wembley and it's his 7th start and all of this for the Vertem Futurity, you can sort of like fire those same questions at both Zamani and Lipizzaner. So that's probably why the likes of Just Frank and Helmont are perhaps the two to be interested in.
There's a bit of pace pressure on him, potentially Kills, isn't there? Shark 2-1, got on with it last time, and Lipizzaner, who just seems to have been around for since racing resumed.
The ones there's only 6 runners, they might not even race that close together. You don't know, do you? So
no.
We'll see what happens. Like Zamani's incredibly strong. This Helmont is, it was 5.4 when we sat down about 10 minutes ago, and it's hit 9.
Let's come back in by
It's
the
probably a
looks of
bit of reality going into the market, to be fair, because he does have an awful lot to prove. I certainly wouldn't rule it out. I mean, I don't tend to worry that much about drifters anyway. But
Okay, yeah, no, quite, absolutely. All right, so listen, I'll be calling this one home. Good luck to you wherever you're going. The last couple are going in. Just look at, we can see in the corner of our eyes here, the big screen, Zamani going in for
He's
team
clear
coach.
favourite now at 2-1 on the
William
exchange.
Buick, of course, he's trying to ride these winners all over the place in a late title charge, isn't it? It doesn't, of course, end this year on Champions Day like normal. Oshie Murphy still has a rival, I think we can say that, and Will Buick is going anywhere for rides, Tony Hyde, his agent, said in the Racing Post. Did you read that story? Will Buick has been, I tell you what, this week he's really showcased his skills. He won on something on the Rolling Mile earlier this week that was a 2-year-old. He had no right to win on it whatsoever. McCoy-esque, Ron Wood said.
He's even been out in at Wolverhampton and Sutherland, all sorts. Buick is going
Have
everywhere.
Saddle
for the title,
will
isn't
ride.
he? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's good to see Will Buick come back. You remember this time last year when he was sure he was going to make it back to the saddle after that horrific head injury he had. Okay, good luck wherever you're playing then, the 145. Normally this would be fast and furious, but on this ground I imagine they might take it slightly steadily. I'll throw to Kills round about after a couple of furlongs, see what he thinks, and Neil Hubbard will be giving us the story of the race. And off we go, and Helmont has fallen out, guys, along with Intrusive as well. So already on the back foot, Richard Kingscote. Just Frank indeed does get to the front, pulling, sweating up. Shark 2-1 is just tracking him. Lippenzana. Interesting here that Will Buick's taken a view, Kills. You might want to be nearer the stand side after 2 furlongs.
yeah, they did. Well, it was starting to come up with stand side the other day, weren't they? But you know, they're all pretty much racing together. He's seen plenty of air on Lipizzaner, and he don't know whether he might want a bit of cover. He doesn't look that happy, to be honest.
No.
But
Helmont's a
we shall
nice
see.
stamp of a horse,
he
isn't he?
is, isn't he? Like I said, he's a nice big horse, all right. But
Halfway, Neil Hubbard. What's the market saying?
Yeah, so Lipzana is clear favourite now, and then Just Frank and Zamani are sort of toying for second favourite, but Lipzana is around even money at the minute.
Okay, 2 furlongs out, then the whips are out, and Just Frank, what will he find? He is indeed digging deep. Zamani and Lippenzana just having a little barging match, but they're coming through now to press him. Shark 2-1 looks like he's done slightly outpaced his Helmont in the minute. Inside the final furlong, then call it Paul. Looks like Lippenzana.
yeah, looks like Lipizzana's getting up. He's, it's a good strong finish out of him. They're all staying on quite strongly, to be fair.
He's not doing a great deal,
he's
but
not
he
doing
has
an awful lot in front,
Yeah.
but he's done enough. They're tired horses. That sticky ground by the looks of it again. Almost slow motion stuff. I mean, they called this good to soft yesterday, didn't they? First thing.
How was that called good to soft?
Yeah, it's a little bit funny.
Like what's his Southwell, isn't it?
Yeah.
The kickback is severe, and some horses won't do it. So they ended up on the stands rail there. You'll probably be watching out there as well if you got
They
the reaction
did.
there.
Makes you wonder why they didn't go over there in the first place.
Will Buick thought about it on Zamani. Neil Hubbard, what did the market say? Did Just Frank dip low?
Not really. I think the market always sort of had his measure, so he sort of hit a low of around, sort of 2-1, just bigger than 2-1, and considering he probably went off around 3-1, it wasn't
He's run a good race, isn't he?
I think he's ran a really good race considering he put himself out there. I don't know whether we've sort of said that how they've ended up this near side. I mean, we've also said how tired they are. Maybe it's just horses looking for the rail to run against and they've just sort of veered across. But I think Just Frank's kept on quite well there, but the market always spoke quite confidently about Lipizzana. He never really hit much of a high there.
He could argue. I think we could argue that everything bar Lipizzana, didn't really get the rub of the green, did it? Just Frank was a bit sweaty out front. He had to go a little bit quicker than maybe he wanted Lewis Evans. He just was in the stalking position.
I wouldn't make that many excuses for anything. I think probably the best horse won, just about.
As a result,
I don't think any of them are any special.
We've not seen a classic winner though, Kills, have we?
No, we probably haven't even seen a group winner, to be fair.
He was fancy, wasn't he? Was it Norfolk he ran in at?
Yeah, he ran in the Norfolk, but
disappointed
he obviously wants further than that because he stuck that out well over 6 furlongs on what is deep ground. So.
And a boost for Wembley backers.
They ran some funny horses in the 2-year-old races. Whatever was ready at the time, I think, for Aidan O'Brien. That More Beautiful, for instance, who ran in the Queen Mary.
What's happened to her?
Well, but if you looked at her pedigree, you'd say she was more of an Oaks filly than a Guineas filly, really. Yeah. I mean, Cy ran in the Derby, Dan ran in the Oaks, and there she was going off at odds on.
It's like they forced them a little bit, didn't they? It's like
they forced whatever they had that was forward, and it didn't work.
Yeah, and some of them took a bit of time to get over it, didn't they? But as I said, Aidan O'Brien's horses, I've just been watching them. If you watch them in these Limericks, your Tipperaries, your Nevans, your Nace out there, they have been winning all over the place. They've got some strong hands at Leopardstown today. There are other cards all over the place. What do you fancy? What are your naps? Let us know here. It's a Racing Post Live. Welcome. If you're just joining us, one race down. We're off to an absolute flyer. Is it going to be Cheltenham next? It is, isn't it? Oh, Masterson holding hurdle. Just look, we can just see there. What are we expecting the ground to be at Cheltenham, Kills?
Well, it was definitely on the slow side of good yesterday. Times were reasonably slow. I don't think it was, but soft by any stretch of the imagination. But they called it good all day, and they never changed it, and they're still calling it good. I can't imagine it'll be any quicker than yesterday. It looked fairly dead, but it's not going to be excuses ground for the horses that like decent ground, I don't think.
No, did you have any touches there yesterday? Just what we're...
Yesterday...
Galvin won, didn't it?
Well, Galvin won. Galvin was a good thing. I was quite surprised that some people were saying, will he stay or not? This is the first run. Gordon Elliott had always said that, he wants the National Hunt Chase this year, and the dam won over 3.5 miles. So there was never any doubt. And
ran well at the festival, didn't he? Who was he behind?
They were second to Imperial Oil.
Oh, yeah, Imperial.
Of course. Second to the best handicap horse running at Cheltenham, and
of the millennium,
and 9 lengths clear of the rest or whatever. So
fair enough.
I was a bit surprised by his SP. What was it, 2 to 1?
We better move off the novice handicap, by the way. It's the old novice handicap, non-existent anymore. Don't want to get kills going on that one. Okay, so what do you want at Cheltenham this afternoon? There's bees in bonnets about to come out. But we're absolutely going to be fantastic, isn't it, this afternoon at Cheltenham? Will we see any potential festival winners coming down the line? It can happen, can't it, early in the season? Used to be a bit snobbery about that. If something won at the first meeting at Cheltenham, that can't possibly win. We saw McFabulous come out, didn't we, when we were doing Race Day Live in the Persian War. And what did you make about the 12 to 1 for the Stayers for him? Do you think it was ridiculous? Or
no, I don't think it was ridiculous.
Not one of those boring...
I think he looked very good. I mean, the thing is, he looked very good when he was a bumper horse. And he just took his time for whatever reason it was. He
couldn't jump when he first came out.
But, he hacked up in a handicap hurdle at Kempton. And he's come out and done it again.
It was a good thing that day, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, I don't remember backing him myself.
I got lucky that I was with Nichols the week before. We talked about that earlier on, weren't we? He basically said, this is a 150. Also got him completely wrong. He's absolutely spot on. 9 to 2 for what looked like a competitive handicap.
Yeah, well, he's more than a 1150 horse now, or he needs to be if he's going to be a Stayers hurdle.
It's just whether they're going to go soaring fences.
No, he said he wants to
have a
see
tilt
about the Stayers hurdle.
The Stayers hurdle, like it is with the Cup division on the flat.
Well, it's going to be very open, isn't it? Yeah, it's going to be very open.
Well, so we're now talking about the juveniles coming back out onto the track. This is a 4-year-old only race. It is the 205, the next terrestrial race that we will be covering for you. How are you enjoying things out there? Keep your socials coming in. We've got a good vibe in the studio here today. We were sunk in the first with Just Frank, weren't we? We went close enough.
Ran okay, though. Yeah, ran okay. Yeah, the race worked out as we sort of expected. It was just that Lipizzaner just proved a little bit too good. But the 3 horses who sort of set the standard came clear, didn't they? So
we'll get the times of the races for you guys out there as well, just to find out exactly what sort of ground we're talking about. Newbury will join the party a little bit later on. But now we're going to Cheltenham. So let's get the market up, shall we, for the 205. Give us plenty of time, about 12 minutes, to talk about this race. And I've got a feeling it's going to be topical because there's a well-fancied horse in this. In fact, Paul Kealy, I'm going to come straight to you with this before I go to Neil. Just tell us what on earth this gamble on Anna Bonina is all about.
Well, it's all about the fact that bookmakers and pretty much everyone miss just how well in she is. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, it's one of those things that, look, she was 8 to 1 on Thursday morning when the decks came out. That's when I backed her.
Yeah. Something you do often, that, Paul.
But she was if you
take aim
if you know it's the wrong price, you do it. And I normally bet on Monday. I've got to be honest. I backed Sir Psycho for this on Monday because I just wanted to take on All Mankind, and I didn't. I'm kicking myself. I didn't see it. I didn't see it then. But when it got down to that number of runners, I saw it straight away.
Now let's concentrate on that for a second. So you've already got the hump with the race, right? And then so when you go in on Anna Bonina, does that make you go? Do you have business with the race as a punter like that?
No,
or does it make you kind of go, right?
You've got to look again. Look, I bet anti-post on. I bet on Mondays for Saturdays every week, and you get your share of non-runners. You get used to it. Like, it's going to happen, but then sometimes you're going to get 4, or you're going to get 16 to 1 about a 4's chance, aren't you? So you take it or leave it. And
it's a game that you obviously like to play.
Yes, it is a game I like to play. You've got to shop around. You've got to try and get on.
Makes the week go a bit quicker as well.
But that was fascinating. My favourite night of the week would be Monday night.
Is that right?
That's when I'm just delving for
the family know not to call.
6 p.m. onwards.
A lot of people are watching some series.
They'll be watching the telly. I'll be sitting at the computer going through it, and I'll be there till 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Even the dog knows not to ask for a walk.
The TV races, he just goes out in the garden.
So I think you can guess that Paul might be quite keen on Anna Bonina.
So anyway, so basically she was rated 88 on the flat, which is actually a couple of pounds higher than All Mankind is. Now, obviously, he didn't run as many times, so that's neither here nor there. She started well. She had one run over hurdles. Her debut was in the Scottish Supreme. She finished third to Time White of Paul Nicholls. Musselburgh of Paul Nicholls. It's rated about 140, 139 now, I think. But then she got bogged down. She got stuck in the mud twice, including behind Concertista at the festival.
Time White was the horse, wasn't it?
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, but then she's come back this season on summer and autumn on better ground. She's won 2 hurdles. She finished second last time in quite a valuable race at Listowel. There were 4 2-mile hurdles on the card, and that race was 4 seconds faster, at least 4 seconds faster than all of them. And she was second to a horse called Politicise, who's bolted up on the flat since. The third, who was 10 lengths back, was Red Jerry, who has bolted up over hurdles since. And the fourth was Cerberus, who was only a couple of lengths behind All Mankind in the Triumph. And the weights were similar.
He also ran behind him in the finale, didn't he? When he just couldn't get near him.
Yeah, he did.
Tried hard to get near him.
So basically, anyway, she's turning up here. She's turning up here. She gets all the allowances. The Racing Post Ratings gave her 137 for that, and the BHA handicapper gave her 137 as well. That is £9 lower than they have All Mankind, who is giving her £15.
We could talk for ages about how Racing Post ratings and handicapper races with the juveniles are totally
it's very rare.
Skew whiff all the time.
RPR would normally be a lot lower.
Yeah,
would normally be a lot lower.
The handicappers take very few chances with 4-year-olds and 3-year-old and 4-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. So but obviously she's run against. She's running a really good race, and it was running a decent time. And she travelled nicely, and she got picked up later on. It was, it was just a very, very good run.
So before we go to Neil, I like All Mankind because I think he'd had enough by the Triumph.
I have this theory about him. You see,
you just think he's just out and out stayer, don't you?
It's one of those horses, very strange, that he's free going, but he might not actually be as fast as he looks.
He's such a confounding horse.
He's a stayer, right?
Yeah.
What he's done is he's gone out in front on bottomless ground 3 times. And he stayed there because he can gallop through that ground and go quicker than others. Yeah. Right? But the thing is, at Cheltenham, it wasn't really soft ground. It was a bit more like good to soft on the final day. And all this nonsense, people saying that he paid for going off in front. You've got to remember, Gosham was only a couple of lengths behind him at any point in the race. And he actually got an easy lead. He was. Okay. I was measuring it against the county hurdle, which was nearly 4 seconds faster than the winning time of the Triumph hurdle. And only one of the previous 5 counties had been faster than the Triumph. And
so he's done his own work, isn't it?
Yeah, and basically he got to the 5th hurdle at roughly the same time as Saint Roy in the county, and Saint Roy was buried in the middle of the pack of 24 runners. So I think last year's Triumph hurdle horses were overrated, basically.
Well, Vergoshen has not come out and done the business yet. Let's get to Neil then, before Keels could obviously go on about this quite a bit, I'm sensing.
Neil, right or wrong?
First of all, could this go off favourite, and are you with it? What's your bet going to be?
I don't think it will now. All Mankind is at the top of the market, so 2.78, which is around 9 to 5. Then Anna Bonina next, 3.25. And she has been backed, as Paul says, from around 8 to 1 into the 9 to 4 mark where she is now.
What's your Hubbard trade?
I was sort of keen to. I wasn't particularly. I'm definitely not going to talk about it as passionately as what Paul just has there. But I was more in the anti-All Mankind camp, but just on a sort of not that I've necessarily got anything against him. I just think that.
Well, shall we lay All Mankind? Then?
Yeah, I think that was it. I think what's interesting is one of his his strength last year was his sort of. Like the way he went about his races in a way. That was one of his big ticks. And it's interesting that, they fitted him with a hood because of those free-going tendencies. And the hood's off today.
We're just watching a replay of the Triumph and see it in the corner of our eye.
So he hasn't got the hood on today.
He does really well still have a chance, doesn't he?
So no hood today perhaps suggests that he's calmed down a little bit. And if that has, mightn't that blunt him a little bit? May that, I don't know, we're guessing, right? It's just interesting, isn't it?
What's the trade, Neil? That's what I'm trying to get out of you.
I was just going to lay All Mankind in
Let's
here.
do it.
So
how much for? 25 quid or something?
Yeah, so he's 2.66 to lay, which is about 13 to 8. So just inverse that. So what we're going to be doing is placing a bet on All Mankind to not win, basically. So, yeah, we'll take a £25 bet there on All Mankind. So we've got the whole field running for us. So if Anna Bonina wins, Botox has, anyone else will win £25. If All Mankind does the business, we'll lose about £40. So we've basically got the field running for us against him.
Do you think it'd be absolutely mad if I laid him for 3 places?
No, because he could blow out totally, couldn't he? I mean, he's odds on. He's 1.6, 1.6 to lay just in the place.
That's 2 places.
Yeah. That is. Sorry. Yeah.
It's 1.3 for 3 places. I mean, maybe
I think
I've got a little bee in my bonnet about the horse. I don't know.
He's actually been quite well supported now, to be honest.
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah.
He's just too short. I just don't think any of that form last year was that good. I wanted to oppose the Triumph hurdle itself. If you know what I mean.
This time of year, Kills, I'm with you. You're like, it's very difficult for a 4-year-old going into the next league, isn't it?
Yeah.
As we well know, history dictates you don't see many Triumph winners going on to win a champion hurdle, for example. A lot of them do turn out to be stayers because they're these 3-year-olds that come off the flat that want middle distance. Alan King used to get all these Aga Khanov, Hazan, do you remember him? The Arzan, things like that. And they always want a trip later on, but as a 4-year-old hurdler or a 3-year-old, there are no 2 mile 4 races.
Well,
so
no, exactly.
They don't show their true colours, is what I'm saying, until quite a lot later in their careers, and they do turn out to be grinders.
You had great stayers, didn't you? I mean, obviously Tiger Roll was the obvious one, but you've got Comanche Court that won it. You've got, it was Paddy's Return years ago, turning into a 3 mile hurdler.
Tiger Roll.
Well, yeah, Tiger Roll was just at the start.
We've got a social in talking to Tiger Roll. How do you think he ran at the weekend? Wow, in a flat major. Did you see him coming out at the start? A new discipline there. Wasn't actually that bad a run, I didn't think. It was strange to see him out there, wasn't it? Andy Sim, good to have you, Andy. All Mankind looks good. He looks good going down, doesn't he? My thing with Andy Sim, and All Mankind, I'm with you, Andy. I just think I couldn't really see what might want to take him on. Even if Nordano tries to under Bryony Foster, I just don't think you can go with this horse.
Well, nothing takes him on. I mean, this is, there's 2 reasons he's starting to shorten now, and one of them is that he was starting to drift, and that was all likely to come back because the money for the second favourite is obviously going to dissolve a little bit later on because it's been punted all day.
Yes.
And the other one is he's going to be trading at evens after 2 flights of hurdles.
Yeah. John O'Connell has won this race, hasn't he? John McConnell.
2 years ago with a filly getting all the allowances.
Yeah, he does rather well at these early Cheltenham meetings.
He's had a very good year too. He won his first ever group race on the flat.
Yes, he did.
Horse that, funnily enough, that beat Lipizzaner last time.
And there we go, 2-year-old. Yeah, you see these colours on both coasts, don't you? Very much so. I'm just looking for his record with. Wait, I've actually just got his flat record up there, which isn't great. I'm looking. He hasn't. Is this the first time he's used Dickie Johnson? Oh yeah, I'm looking at 2020, which is a bit poor on my Raceform Interactive. I should say I'm using.
It might well be. I think Sean Bowen rode his winner 2 years ago.
I'm sure Dickie's ridden through. They've run us at Perth together and stuff. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, tactics-wise, she's just going to try and keep on the coattails and pounce coming around the home turn.
Yeah, she was ridden reasonably prominently at Listowel in pretty much 3rd or 4th all the way round and took it up a fair way out. So yeah, I don't think she's going to be sitting miles off him.
To boost
and she's got a bit of toe as well. She can travel.
To boost your confidence,
go on.
If you wanted to go in again, like if you think Johnson's 8 from 16 for John McConnell.
Is he?
Yeah,
that's something else that I missed.
You've just got onto one somehow.
I'm not doing enough work.
Although this is his first ride at Cheltenham for him. Exactly. What are you doing on Monday night?
I've got on the website, it says 8 from 15 with 4 seconds.
I've got 8 from 16 with 4 seconds, a third, a fifth, and a sixth, and a pull up. There you go. I think, yeah, okay. So we're not.
Well, it's a strong record anyway, whichever way you look at it.
Extremely strong record, and Perth and Bangor are included there. So look, are you with Anna Bonina? I think All Mankind will probably. I thought this might be his big day. Botox has still Hubbard in the market, who gets a weight swing with All Mankind. It was only a couple of lengths off in the first time we've seen him. Okay, we've not seen him since. He's stunk in the market, isn't he?
Yeah, 8.2. Like, that was also one of the reasons why perhaps just to be against All Mankind. It's not necessarily anti-him as such. It's just like he was only 2 lengths behind All Mankind when they clashed. I think
that's very early in their
careers.
Is he the kind of horse, this, with Gary Moore, that Gary Moore's thinking, right, I've got a 4-year-old here, we know sort of how good he is. With these colours, you associate the more 4-year-olds to have some longevity, don't you? I think they could be looking at something like an Imperial.
And he's also said he probably need it, and he probably wants to ground softer as well. You know what I mean? So he's got his negatives. I mean, he's a nice horse. He looks like he's potentially quite tough. But he needs to have improved again because obviously All Mankind improved after beating him by a couple of lengths.
What I love about this time of year as well, you get all the flat boys. You know, I got them in my departments where they're like, the jumps coming. It's basically just slow flat horses. They're sticking them over jumps unless they're store horses and chasers. I get that a lot at the racing post. But what I love about it is what you can't do with the flat is we can now even before he's run, we're talking about Botox Hass and what he might win later on in the season. It's a beautiful game, isn't it? If you're invested into it, as a fan, you've got the whole season to come. Yes, it's all about Cheltenham. We're unapologetic about that here. But the little plots, and there's a race here at Kelso for him. There's a race, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the horses that keep coming back, isn't it? I mean, this is it. You've got Tiger Roll that's won a Triumph Hurdle as a 4-year-old, and he may well be running the Grand National next April as a 12-year-old. Brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah,
they keep coming back. That's why people love these horses so much. I was at Leopardstown.
I'm so amazed you can remember.
I was at Leopardstown last year, and
it was this year, wasn't it?
That was last year now, wasn't it? Last year's.
I thought you went to didn't you go over for the Jolly...
Was it this year?
It was this year.
God, yeah, we
can't remember any of it.
We were allowed out, but they walked Tiger Roll into the parade ring, and the round of applause he got was amazing.
Yeah. Well, absolutely, quite right. It happens over here, of course, doesn't it? With the Parade of Champions, as they call it. They're just ambling around at the start. Then Neil Hubbard. Any more ripples? Is it like Old Man Kind who lines up at the front of the party? Is he going to go off Fab?
He's very strong.
Yeah, 6-4. He's just jumped off around that price. Anna Bonina, 11-4 ish, and everything else a little bit weak, really.
We're switching to the jumps then. Good luck. We're back at Cheltenham and we're off and running. The 205, the Marston Holdings, well-established 4-year-old hurdle for the conditions, and it looks like on good ground. All Mankind pulls his way to the first. As he got over it, absolutely fine. Botox has given a little bit of company. Looking for Anna Bonina, as we expected, just hunting them up, giving him around about 3 lengths at the moment. Dano, All Mankind's old rival, he's flanking him on the outside.
He is a ludicrously keen horse, isn't he?
He just got one way of running.
Well, we know that he's done it for he's won 3 out of his 4 starts doing this, but it's going to hold him back at some point in his life because he can't race that keenly in these races and expect to carry on winning him.
Paul Nicholls has got one in here, guys, that we haven't talked about. Actually, the racing at 141, we should have done Stratagem on the inside.
Well, he beat Solo in France, didn't he? And he just didn't, the trainer just didn't think that he acclimatised that quickly last year, and of course he came out and won a Mickey Mouse race.
No David Maxwell, of course, on him today.
David Maxwell on him. Well, he's going to be on him for the rest of his life, isn't he? So you take what you get. Look, David Maxwell, a few years ago, everyone was taking the mickey out of him, but he was probably the most improved jockey over the last 2 or 3 years.
We've all cheered home Maxwell winner.
Exactly. He'll never be as good as the pros. But
this is the Corinthian amateur we're talking about, who owns all these horses with Nicholls.
But, good luck to him.
Yeah, okay, so look, we've had 6 hurdles to go. They're not going that quick at all, actually, are they, Neil? And how's the market reacting?
I'm wondering whether that's... I just don't think All Mankind is that fast.
Yeah, he sort of drifted out to bigger than 2-1, and he's back into 6-4, but he hasn't, which was his SP really. So he hasn't actually got any shorter just yet. So Botox has come into around the 4-1 mark. So he's about halved in price really. Anna Bonina the same, so around 11-4 in running.
So slightly bigger than what you were getting pre-race, which of course does happen when you're an in-running player. So we're approaching 5 hours. He's jumped pretty neatly to my eyes so far. Botox has got into a lovely rhythm.
They've all jumped okay. It's early doors yet. It's final, half a mile that you want to be interested in, really, isn't it? Because they're all going to travel reasonably well to this stage.
When does he press the button? When does he press the button? You're moaning. Why? Was that the kiss of death?
Oh, Anna Bonina just dropped her hind legs, landed hind legs, over the hurdle, which hasn't
made much of an impact in the market though. She's still around 5-2.
No. It wasn't the nicest. Listen, when you have a bit over jumps, your heart's in your mouth at every obstacle, isn't it? And,
she's getting over a stone kills, isn't she?
Yeah, exactly,
obviously, weight for age allowance there, but sex allowance. Sorry. So look, we're coming to the third last. Now they're going to have to start revving up here. Harry Skelton's still got company with Jamie Moore and Botox Hass's old rival. Stratagem on the inside going quite well. Anna Bonina, not yet asked Dicky. Now Nordano looks like he's cracked under Bryony Foss for Neil King and the Pinkin. The outsider lot, Daniel Sanson, he's still got something to say. Neil Hubbard as they turn in.
Even money, All Mankind. Even money, All Mankind.
Now he's pressing the button, Kills. What are you thinking about Anna Bonina?
Yeah, I don't think she's going that well, to be honest. But he hasn't picked her up yet. He hasn't asked her yet. So we've got to wait and see. Now he's got her to Misty. She's just not jumped today.
He tell you what, All Mankind is. This looks like it's going
Botox
to be between the 2 old rivals, doesn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. They're sort of joint favourites now.
I'll tell you what, Botox Hass is looking like a very big pre-race drift, but is he just starting to crack as they come to the penultimate flight? Up and over they go. Lovely over to Pinkin. He's going to run on. It looks like they're gone. Anna Bonina now rallying, Keels.
Yeah, she's not going to get there. She's not. It's,
I don't know, Keels. Look, come on, they're off the bridle now. She's now filling her lungs a little bit.
I know.
All Mankind's in trouble, I think, guys.
I think All Mankind's in trouble, but I think Anna Bonina's in trouble.
What about the Pinkin? The Pinkin's running on a little bit, isn't
it? The Pinkin's absolutely still there. He stays well on the flat. It's oars. Botox Hass comes up at the last. All Mankind's flattened out. Looks like he's gone. Looks like Botox Hass is going to get this, unless the Pinken has something to say under Dan Sampson, also getting weight. He's getting around about, what, five pounds from him. But no, Botox Hass has got this. Did you look at the pre-race drift and just scratch your head and think I'm getting £4 from the favourite? I've got to be with it. Gary Moore will be over the moon with that. If he wasn't quite ready, he's done it extremely well. The Pinken runs on into second. I think All Mankind just about held third because Anna Benina did not turn up. Paul Kealy, before we go to Neil Hubbard, tell me about that race. Is it just a salt and pepper form race?
It's a difficult one. Like, you know, I wanted to take on the Triumph Hurdle form, and it turns out the two horses that beat him didn't run in the Triumph Hurdle, and I backed the wrong one. She didn't. Well, for whatever reason, she didn't jump. Her jumping was terrible.
You need to get rid of the vino on those Monday nights.
From 4 out. I haven't had a drop, mate. I'm going to have a few tonight now, though. But no, you know, she didn't turn up. All Mankind sort of did what I thought he was going to do. I just don't think he's very fast. Yeah. I think he needs hock deep ground, and I don't think he's ever going to come of anything really good over hurdles because he races too keen.
Yeah, of course.
He's got found out. Unfortunately, my horse has got found out, and Gary Moore looks like he's got another, you know, a decent juvenile. But again, what that means for the rest of the season, I don't know. He looks like an out-and-out stayer as well, doesn't he?
Got some breaking news, guys. After the second race at Doncaster, it turned heavy, the ground. That has been enough for Aidan O'Brien to scratch Wembley. We're thinking that's what it is. So no Wembley. Wow, which is an absolute wow moment. So breaking here on Race Day Live, Racing Post with the Betfair Exchange, no Wembley in the Group 1 Vertem. That sees now Neil Hubbard. Let's get the market up on the screen, shall we? We've got time to react to that. One ruler, looks like he must be a good thing.
Clear favourite, 6-4 now at the top of the market. I guess the market's just trying to sort of recalibrate a little bit and try and work out what's going on. King Vega next in, 6.8. Magellan, 8. State of Rest, 8.4. State of Rest, interestingly, still in though, because I know Joseph O'Brien said that he'd be worried about very soft ground for him. So
it's gone heavy.
Yeah, so it's interesting that he's still in at this stage. But yeah, One Ruler is now your market leader at 2.48.
Okay, Paul Kealy, thoughts now. So Wembley's out.
Wembley's out. I mean, it's one of those now you're not going to be able to know how good the form is, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? One Ruler obviously deserves to be favourite, but there's no standout horse to measure against anymore. You know, which would worry you, but I mean, it is what it is. Look, we've had bottomless ground there before.
I hovered over the 4-1 about One Ruler earlier in the week, thinking I just don't fancy Wembley, and I think the other might not go there. Well, he's probably about 11 or 8, isn't he? So obviously there would be a massive rule for with that. Were you with Wembley? Were you looking forward to a juicy lay? Let us know. You like me? One Ruler. Do you think he's a proper horse? Is there something else that's going to come out of the pack in the Vertem Futurity? We do head back to Doncaster next for a really interesting burn-up 5-furlong sprint. Perhaps let's get the market up for that, guys, because it's going to come thick and fast, the action now. We're in about 7 minutes away from the next handicap sprint at Doncaster. The dust is now settled slightly on Cheltenham. Do get your socials in about, do you agree with Keels or not? Is All Mankind going to bounce back from that? Was it just one of those funny races? Is Botox Hass a sort of Coral Cup winner in the waiting? Here's the 220, then the market. Neil Hubbard.
Yeah, it came from the dark as your, joint favourite with Mighty Spirit. So came from the dark 5.7, Mighty Spirit 5.5. They're sort of trading blows up there at the minute. Ventura 7.4, Renthorpe 8, double figures the rest.
Do you have a bet in this, Neil? Are you liking one?
I've had a bet in this on Thursday, I think it was, or maybe midweek.
You've done a Keels.
Yeah, which was, and I'm perhaps a little bit worried now the ground's gone massively heavy, which was Venturus at a double figure price. A lot, like, sort of based upon the fact of the way the race was set up was he needs to come off a quick pace. He thrives coming off of that. And the way that this was set up to be run, everything was right for him then. He's well handicapped at the minute. And everything was sort of right with him in terms of conditions of the race versus his sort of current handicap mark with Ray Dawson taking off another 5 off it. So in that regard, it was perfect. Now conditions are gone. I'm sort of favouring Came from the Dark a little bit more now.
We can do this. We do this on the show a lot. Last Saturday on Champions Day, I put Magical up. The 48-hour decks, I moved on to a day because I saw how the ground was going. It just went that way. You can do it. It doesn't always go your way, of course, but this is the beauty of this show. We have, you've
got to be able, listen, it's not just a show. You've got to be able to change your mind when you see conditions. You've got to be able to do that, and there's nothing wrong whatsoever in having a cover bet.
Absolutely. So, are you looking to get with Came with over the dark? Now, this is the one that I like. Came from the dark. I just forget the York run last time, and he's back down to his right jaw. I just think this under Tom Marquand. I think this is all perfect for him, and he looks backable to me now.
Yeah, that was sort of my thing as well. I wrote in my notes, ignore York run last time. So that's pretty much what you've said there.
Ignore Dave Orton.
No. So he's so from a purely handicapping point, he's like £5 above his highest winning mark. But I think conditions here are going to count for a lot, and conditions here
as well.
Conditions here are going to be ideal for him. Ed Walker's always talked about him like he's a good horse. When he finished second behind Count D'Orsay earlier in the year, he travelled like an absolute good thing that day in similar sort of conditions to this. And yes, his handicap mark is hard to sort of argue versus what he's done in the past. But conditions he's going to love here, and it should be run to suit with Renthorpe, Abel Handy, and a couple others. Tanner Sock, who are probably going to make the run in here.
And Tom Marquand is the get-on. We were chatting a bit about him last week as well, Kills. I watch him on the all-weather like you do, and these other gaff tracks, the smaller track. He gets on a horse that's had 5 or 6 runs, and he just can give it an extra.
There's no doubt about it. He makes them run.
The outstanding jockeys can do it.
He is very, very good. I think he's probably the most likely winner. I wouldn't argue with that at all.
Can we get on a team selection then, Neil?
He's got 2 runs at York this year, which were hopeless. But when you've got 2 runs at the same track,
and it's always York.
It's always York, isn't it? Other than that, his form figures are like 2-1, 2-1 for the other 4 runs, all career bests. Like I said, that second to Count D'Orsay, he then came out and beat Count D'Orsay.
Forgive the knaves, Maya.
I backed one earlier in the week who, I was saying, I didn't put it up in the Sizzlers because I thought the price had gone and now it's drifted out to bigger than what I've backed it, and that's Ishvara. And it's one of those drifts that I don't understand, because if you ignore one bad run at Ayr, which was 2 starts ago, she's actually run 3 consecutive career bests. The latest one on heavy, when second to Blue de Vega at Leicester. And she's got Asheen Murphy. She's got Asheen Murphy in the saddle. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing to dislike about her chance, and she's become quite a bit of value now.
She'll love the ground. Okay, so I think we've sent a bit of love for Came from the Dark. Let's get a trade on, please, Neil, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, we can back them both, because I'm not opposed to being with Ishvara as well, who seems to be going in the right direction in terms of improving. So we can back them both and probably Dutch them both and split our stakes. So we're going to add both Came from the Dark and Ishvara to our bet slip here. We're going to go up to this stake box here, and we're going to put in £25. And what this does, we'll split our £25 evenly across both Came from the Dark and Ishvara. So regardless of which one wins, we're going to win the same amount. Right. So we'll place that bet, and a bit like in the last race where our Lay of All Mankind was a success, so that was a winning bet.
Happy days.
Where we had the field running for us. In this race, we've got 2 running for us against the field. So when conditions change and you need to be a little bit more pragmatic about stuff, having 2 horses on your side is no bad thing, as long as you judge it correctly, and that's what we've hopefully done there with splitting our stake.
And if you were going in for the trifecta, Venturous would be the one for you.
Yeah, I'm not against him at all. I was just a bit more the money's come for him because he's single figures now, and I think he was as big as 12, 16s perhaps in the week when conditions were sort of good to soft, which is what he has posted his highest RPRs on in the past. He's handicapped to win. I'm not saying he can't win on heavy at all. It's just my confidence was based on the fact that the ground wouldn't be what it is. So, yeah.
Give us a line on Mighty Spirit 3-year-olds. 3-year-olds can win this race.
Yeah, 3-year-olds can win it. In fact, they've won it quite a few times.
And it's for John Dance, the Vertem.
John Dance, the Vertem man, obviously been, he's probably had this in mind for him for a fair while. A good second to Musica last time in a 21 a race at York on soft ground. You can't argue with the form at all.
Got to love these sprinters, haven't you? Because they run so much a season.
Yeah, what we've got is a field of 5 furlong sprinters, many of whom are in reasonably good form, and most of whom also like the ground.
Yeah.
So it is competitive. That's why it's 4-1 the field. You can't really ignore anything. I think Came from the Dark is just about the most likely winner. I don't think Ishvara should be as big as 10s. When
I saw the draw for this, Keels, I saw Renthorpe, who was a horse that I got with again. Basically, heavy ground and Nottingham, you've got to be with Renthorpe. And great, he won last time. He just absolutely loves it. But you can't really go faster than Renthorpe, I don't think, if you're in the race. He's in 9. Yeah. So it's near the stand side, isn't it? When I saw Came for the Dark, was right next to him in 6. I thought, Tom Marquand, just get onto his heels, and if you can get near him in the final mile.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure Renthorpe's really up to this level.
No, I'm not suggesting, but I think he'll lead.
His style of
I think he will lead.
Yeah, he could lead.
It's interesting as well, and I know it's only a small thing, but Came from the Dark is in 6, but Dark Shots and Non-Runner in 7, so he's actually a little bit closer to him as well. I know it's only one stall, and you can
marvellous
argue the
Dark
toss
Shot.
around that,
Abel Handy is in stall 1. He can lead as well. Social comments coming in. Let's get some on the screen. Okay, who we got? Stephen Hughes. Steve, welcome to the show. Venturous for me with Neil Hubbard on that first runner in a lucky 15. Fingers crossed for you, my man. He's a bit of an enigmatic character. He's Venturous. I wonder if Jim McGee is. He's backed Mighty Spirit, but it's Last Chance Saloon or Salon even. Last Chance Salon. There's a thing. This is the last chance. If you don't get this haircut right, boys, you will not be seeing me again.
I'm going elsewhere. Yeah.
Last Chance Salon.
My haircut right. You're out of a job.
Yeah, quite absolutely. Didn't have a problem in lockdown, Gills, did you whatsoever? Like some of the rest of us. Okay, you should have seen the boys in the gallery, by the way, during lockdown. My goodness gracious me. Whew. There were some mops there, that's for sure. Okay, right, so this is nice, open, wide, competitive stuff. We're mixing it up, though. We've got Newbury joining the party in around about half an hour. We'll be popping back to Cheltenham after this. How's your afternoon going? Where are your bigs hope laying? Are you just tuning in and thinking, aye, come on, this is a great autumnal winter weekend and by the fire or whatever, having a couple of beers, watching this. Good to have you along. It's Race Day Live here with the Racing Post and the Betfair Exchange myself, Dave Orton. Paul Kealy's with us and Neil Hubbard from Betfair as well. Any ripples in the market, Neil Hubbard?
Well, not really. Came from the Dark is still your sort of market leader. There's a bit more separation between them, between the two of them at the top of the market, but he's still at the top. Mighty Spirit next in at 6. Venturous holding his position pretty okay at 7.8. Orvar actually is into 6.2 now, so that's where the move has come under William Buick.
Orvar, he's one of those kills, isn't he? That
Well,
I just can't get him right.
He's got bags of Doncaster form on soft ground as well, isn't he? He likes the track. I think he's won the same race there for a couple of years earlier on in the summer when it's been soft in midsummer at Donny. He's again it's one of those. It's
Will Buick on him, of course.
Won the field for a reason. Yeah.
Can he catch Arsheen Murphy in the jockey title change? A lot of talk about it this week.
I think he can, but he's going to have to ride a hell of a lot of winners. You've got to remember they're stuck to one meeting.
Well, here he is riding Orvar for Paul Midgley. I mean, he's got one ruler in the biggie now.
Yeah, he's got. I'm trying to find out exactly how far behind he is.
Well, we will get that for you.
We'll look that up.
The boys in the studio feverishly, no doubt in the gallery, getting that. Of course, it was. I think Tony Hyder's agent came out basically, didn't he, just before they go off at Donny and said we're up against it, but I can sense the change in the air. All right, they're off and running there, looking for Tanasok. Wasn't a great break. Came from the Dark, not so great out, but as expected, Renthorpe making an absolute bean and a bomb, and they're splitting. Of course they are. So we've got 5 coming near side kills.
Yeah, 5 coming near side, and it makes you wonder, doesn't it? They all wanted to be near side yesterday, and you've got some going down the middle. It'll be interesting to see what happens. There's a lot of pace on that. Abel Handy's going pretty quick, you know.
Yeah, he's leading the lot of them.
I mean, it would make you look like he's in front, but you never can tell with these races. So
halfway, Neil Hubbard. What's the market saying? Came for the Dark, starting to edge closer now.
Ventura's favourite 2-1.
On the far side, he's cruising. Okay, so the pace setters are starting to go. 2 funnels out. Oh my goodness, Ventura's for the lucky 15. If he doesn't win this, he'll never win another race. I think he's got this, guys. Came for the Darks, badly outpaced.
And look, the middle's the right place to be.
Absolutely hosed up Venturous. I said he was enigmatic. Well, today is a going day. Looks like Mighty Spirit and Orvar are going to fight it out for second and third. Came for the Dark, just lacked nothing like the pace to get near this. 1 horse race, goodness gracious me, blown it away. Did anyone get any love in the exchange there for that, Neil Hubbard?
No, it was pretty much a 1 horse race there, really, because like watching it back, I know they were split in 2 groups, but there didn't seem to be a lot between either group. And then all of a sudden, you sort of, once you picked your way through, you just saw Ventura's travelling like a dream, and he just scooted clear. So he didn't really give anything else a chance to get involved. So it's pretty much a 1 horse race there.
Couldn't have gone much better for him, Kills, could it, with Abel Handy sealing off like that. I think Mighty Spirit or Abel Handy, he's rallied actually, Abel Handy. He's had a good season. Orvar, not quite good enough. But that's what you want from your sprinters, isn't it? Something to give you that lead to the front.
Yeah, exactly. You get the lead, you've got to travel. I mean, this time of year, you can get some funny results. But I mean, he looks like he's winning like an odds-on favourite here, doesn't he? There's mine just dropping out the telly. On the left, miles away.
It's been a good start, Kills.
Yeah, it's been a great start. Yeah,
Can't keep a good man down, though, don't worry.
Be a very, very long day.
That was my first wager of the day. Actually came from the Dark. Just never went the pace, did it, Neil?
He never went at all either.
No, he didn't.
Well done to you, Neil. By the way, you suggested that was your Kills bet. You got up on Thursday and went, I've seen it.
You haven't done very well for charity, though. You managed to 2 others. Going on.
No, he'll
For my
he'll come
personal
out on
charity, it was fine, but yeah.
Well, if you're in a giving mood, you never know. All
yeah,
right.
exactly. Yeah.
So listen, that was. I've never seen Venturous do that. The handicap's going to whack him down.
Yeah, especially with Ray Dawson taking off 5 there as well. The next time he runs without him, he'll probably go up.
How is he still claiming 5?
Well,
He's that good, isn't
If he goes up £6 and Ray Dawson doesn't ride him next time, he's going to be near enough a stone worse off the next time he runs in a handicap.
Robbie Downey's been running on the all-weather and stuff. So there's a result then on the screen. Venturous, well done. Was it Matt something? I can't remember who. Get back in. We had your lucky 15. What's the rest of your lucky 15? Our social comment out there who came in on Venturous 6-1. Poof, one like an odds-on shot, beating Abel Handy, the long-time leader on the far side, and Mighty Spirit, well fancied, of course, and Paul Nicholls' daughter, whose name escapes me. Megan, of course, Megan Nicholls. For the race sponsors, it was Stephen Hughes, was it? It was that said Venturous as well. Stephen Hughes. Good for you. What's the rest of your lucky 15? I'd be fascinated to know, because we'll give them a good mention for you now. Keep your social comments coming in. Don't forget to like the stream if you're watching on YouTube, and subscribe as well. Subscribers coming in thick and fast. We're going right through the winter here. Ooh, it's going to be all about the jumpers from November here on Racing Post Live with the Betfair Exchange. We're not going anywhere. Don't you worry about that. Despite what's going on in the world, we're going to be lifting your spirits each and every Saturday we can. Don't worry about that. We're going to be here at the Christmas as well. You're going to come and visit us over the festive period and show us?
I certainly hope not.
Well, the way your punting's going, man, at the minute, I think the viewers are with you, absolutely on the way. No, we'll get you in one day.
I'd imagine I'll make it.
Maybe, what's that great Newbury card that they have there?
The Challo.
Yeah. The Challo.
Shallow. I'm not coming in. That's the dullest day's racing in the whole Christmas period.
What else do you think you're going to be doing at Christmas, man? I mean, I know you've not got a big family, but actually, what are you doing on Christmas Day, Kills?
I haven't got any idea. I still don't even know whether the wife's working or not, because obviously she's a nurse.
She's a nurse.
She did Christmas last year, so theoretically she shouldn't have to do it this year. So
when it comes to 8 o'clock every night, you just give her a round of applause. You just say, thank you for bearing with me.
I'll give up with that. It just went on for too long, that, didn't it?
Well,
for the sake of it. Drove a mad. So why can't you just pay us some more money instead of standing there clapping?
That absolutely quite right indeed. Yeah, that's,
plus the fact I live in Epsom, most people have voted the Tories for years, haven't they? Like, you know what I mean?
You're a lone person out there.
I believe they got a pay rise, didn't they? The politicians as well recently. Yeah. Okay, some socials coming in. Dick and Fast, we had a great crack on the show today. Good to have you with us. Who have we got coming up? Let's, as if by magic, here we are. Martin Benedetti had no idea the function to Dutch your stakes was there. Been doing it manually forever. Throw that one to you, Neil Hubbard.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really handy tool just to add 2 of them to your bet slip, hit that stake box, and it does all the hard work calculations for you, Martin. So, the functionality's there. So it's great that we've managed to signpost it.
When did that happen?
It's been there for
the Dutching.
Is it? Yeah, I didn't know that was there.
Yeah, we had this last week actually with Graham, and Graham Rodway was back on the show.
Yeah, and just a handy little thing to be able to do on the exchange. Yeah, if you add 2 to it, and then there's a little stake box just above it. Just above where you put that in. Add that in.
Not just the adorning public that are learning about these.
There you go.
Every day's a school day. Yeah. And then that just splits your stake evenly across your 2 or 3 select. Like if you added 5 selections to your bet slip, it'd split it across.
I've seen Paul Kealy's mind just blow. We've watched it line on television.
Yeah, so it just splits
fantastic. I did not know that was there. I didn't.
That's going to confuse you Monday night.
I'm one of the least observant human beings alive, to be fair, but no, I did not know that existed. Okay, I like that. I like that.
Well, Paul and Martin, there you go. Every day's a school day.
That will get plenty of views.
Every day is a school day, absolutely. So how are you finding your bets out there? Are you winning, or have you got some big ones to come? Or have you hit the crossbar thus far? I've just dipped my toe into the water. We came from the dark. I'm getting very excited about One Ruler now, though. Despite the fact that Wembley is out, it's just, around about half an hour away from the big Group 1 of the day.
Yeah, just an added thing for One Ruler, that over in France, in the Criterium International, Van Gogh has won the Group 1 over there, who was second behind One Ruler, right?
Van Gogh.
He was indeed,
yeah. So he's come out and won a Group 1 by 4 lengths over in France this afternoon.
He showed One Ruler, didn't he, the last time at Newmarket? He can handle that ground. He should have won there at the St Ledger meeting. I think we can say that, despite the fact that he's hardcore form. It did the third run to that Doncaster race today at Newbury, doesn't it? Lanakesh, is that?
Lanakesh,
yeah.
That's interesting.
It's a nice
he's
bit
a short
of race,
price. He's going to be a short price, but he's running on some.
This could be a serious race, couldn't it? That Donny race.
Yeah.
And that mid-race move that One Ruler cost for. I think he was the best horse in that race. So look, exciting times. We're about half an hour away, but we're going to go back to Prestbury Park in Cheltenham. We've got an interesting novice chase coming up here. The 240. I've got some last race at Cheltenham, by the way, was slow by 6.28 seconds. I mean, they went an all right pace. You wouldn't say dawdled.
I think that was quicker than yesterday, though. I think that the times were a lot slower yesterday.
That's interesting.
So,
Okay, so
it doesn't look too bad
first race
at all.
at Chelsea, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, 2:05. All right.
Yeah.
We'll collate them as we're going on, so perhaps drying a little bit at Prestbury Park. 4 runners then in the 240. Let's get the market up on the screen. This is a well-established novice chase. Will we be seeing anything coming back at the big ones here in March? Neil Hubbard, talk us through it.
Yeah, potentially a bit of a surprise at the head of the market. Southfield Stone is no longer favourite. 2.92 Southfield Stone, but are we saying pylon or pillion?
I think it's pylon, isn't it?
So we go pylon?
I think it's pylon.
It's got to be pylon, isn't it?
I think it is pylon.
So pylon, 2.82 on his chase debut. So just nudged ahead of Southfield Stone. Not that Fusée, 5.2 and Cool Cody, 8.6. So not actually that much between the 4 of them on the market at least anyway.
Right, Neil, who do you like in this? Let's get your trade on early doors so the punters can react.
Yeah, I'm so open to suggestions in a way, really. I had Southfield Stone as a potential back to lay here, really. I found it difficult. I mean, Pylon gets the allowances here on his chase debut, doesn't he? Because all the others have come out and won. So he's a bit of a beneficiary of the others retaining that, retaining their novice status. It wasn't a race that particularly appealed to me from a betting perspective, I must say. I think it's interesting to see how Pylon gets on over fences, but I found this tricky, to be honest, Dave.
Oh, I've just seen that Bournemouth have equalised against Watford for 5 minutes of injury time. All that is just, I'm deflated now.
I can tell.
I'm pretty deflated. I have to say, it's going to be a long year, isn't it? Okay, all right. So, all right, Neil, fair enough. Are you in any sort of agreement with that whatsoever?
Well, it's funny. I was reading up on this race early yesterday evening, and I saw comments from Paul Nicholls, and I actually emailed the office and said, we've got to take this down. So this cannot be right. And what he says is he's better left-handed and he's got a good chance. Now, I had a look at Southfield Stone. I know the horse because I've backed him quite a few times over hurdles.
Yeah.
And he's run 13 times in his life and only 2 of them have been left-handed. And he got well thumped both times. And I said, he must have made a mistake, Paul Nicholls. He can't be right. That can't be right.
But
anyway, I had a look on the Betfair column. He says exactly the same.
Yeah.
And if you do look at his last chase when he was second to 2 days wins, he did go out to his left.
He did.
And whether that means he actually wants a left-handed track is another matter altogether.
Well, that's very interesting, isn't it? Because why has he taken so long to run him on this way round?
Well, I'm pretty sure they thought he wanted right-handed track over hurdles, but now he jumps out his left. They think he wanted left-handed track now. You know, I always think horses that don't jump straight, there's a physical issue down the line somewhere. There's got to be a reason for it. So I'd be interested. I'd be keen to oppose him.
He's had a wind off.
Yorkill's got to be the most famous one recently, hasn't he?
Southfield Stone.
He has had a wind off.
I don't know if that
I would say
he's had a wind
I
up.
would say about 60% of Paul Nicholls' horses have a wind up before every season, don't they?
Yeah.
Like, you know, he does give plenty of them.
So we didn't see him after February, did they? They were going to miss Cheltenham, if you remember, and target Aintree. That never happened. So not like he probably had a problem. But no, that is interesting. So we talk about horses that go one way or the other. I was just saying Yorkill there, and Willie Mullins. They had to run him on a right-handed track,
exactly,
didn't they? I think he's joined at other yards since.
He runs this weekend.
Sandy Thompson, of course.
He runs in the Veterans Chase, isn't he?
Yeah, is he running
the
Veterans today or
the Old Roan? I can't remember which one
he's in the white and black stripes.
He runs today or tomorrow.
It might be the Old Roan.
Yorkill. What horses do you remember that go out one way or the other? Is it a physical thing or is it just something in their mind? I don't know. I'm half and half with that, I think. What about Not That Fussy?
What was your choice here, Dave?
I like Pylon, actually. So.
Pylon.
Well, I quite like Pylon. He's very progressive and he's you know, he's just second at the Cheltenham Festival. Just got nutted when he was quite a big gamble. He's obviously got loads of potential. I was a little bit worried. I mentioned it about you. I was trying not to work myself up about it too much, having backed Anna Bonina. But Richard Johnson's he's only had 3 winners from his last 45 rides, and that's an incredible low for someone of his stature. And
would he have won the
I don't know what happened with Anna
Bonina,
Bonina, but he never got a
injury,
jump. I mean, he probably would have done, yeah. He probably would have done, but things haven't gone very well for him this season. He's quite some way off the pace.
How do you think that will be affecting Dickie at the moment? Because this is a guy that's been around, as long as I've been in racing, he's been riding over jumps. Do you think it's something he'll just be like, I don't know. It'd be interesting to check the SPs of those.
I think he's very level-headed and he's not going to let it get to him. But you know, he needs a bit of a change of luck, I think. Hopefully he'll get it here with Pylon. I think it's a very nice horse. It's obviously less exposed than all of them. But is conceding experience away.
Is this a race though with a chasing debutant, Paul? I look through the winners of this, and I think he's the horse that I want to be within this race. But I'm not over the moon about backing him really, because it's 50-50 for me, because experience over fence is a huge weapon, isn't it, to have, you know, in your armoury. I looked through the previous winners of this; most of them had experience. Slate House, if you remember last year, plenty of experience. If he wins, I think he's the most talented horse. But this wasn't a race where I wanted to play really.
Well, I mean, it's very hard to justify having a bet on a horse that's never jumped a fence, isn't it?
So this is where responsible gambling comes in, of course.
And this is the
So
problem. But
we'll take a pull.
You know,
we'll enjoy it.
This is you know what betting and running's for.
Well,
let's see him jump the first 3 fences.
Aha!
He could
do that.
He could be 8-1 after the first fence, couldn't he? We don't know how he's going to jump, but he could also jump them really well. And you know, okay, you might be taking a little bit shorter, but at least you'll be confident the horses.
Let's try and game that then. Let's say that he comes up well over the first couple, Neil. What sort of graph are we going to see?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting in relation to the others though as well, isn't it? Because Southfield Stone, as you said, if he'll jump to the left, is that, you know, is he going to jump better? He'll probably be on the front end, won't he, Southfield Stone, in terms of the pace of it. But you'd expect Pylon, there's perhaps a little bit of an unknown there in his price. Obviously, he is as short as he is based on potential and based on his novice form. But his form over fences is the complete unknown, and literally no one does, other than those who have watched him school at home.
But given his favourite, I mean, if he jumps to the first 2 or 3 like a stag, then
he's going to go zing straight down.
Yeah,
all right,
and you would have to think that he's going well at home to be pitched in. Actually, you know, because there'll be novice chasers at lesser tracks. So the fact that he's been pitched in here, like straight off the bat,
he's obviously well fancied, isn't he?
Yeah, I thought that the other day about a horse called Go a Little Nigel Twiston Davis's, and she jumped like a bunny to start with, and then just
that was a Ludlow kills, wasn't it?
She was so enthusiastic. So not she, he was so enthusiastic, and he just took off miles out the last one.
He didn't win a point, you know, this chap.
And
this Pylon, he had 2 goes. He was 10-1 shot in May 2018. He also probably has had a problem or two, hasn't he? Yeah, so anyway, look, we'll get to him. The fact that Philip Hobbs, the master trainer,
it might be something we can just keep an eye on. Sorry, Dave. In running, as we do anyway with the prices, but if we're broadly comfortable, it's 2.5 miles, so it's not like you're betting in running in the Nunthorpe or something like that. You know what I mean? You've got plenty of time to take a view here, so we can perhaps see how it's going and maybe place an in-running bet depending on if there's anything there that we like.
The jumpers are back. Happy days. Let's go for the socials then before they kick off. They're just going down to the start at Cheltenham for this 240 race. Okay, Mark Smith, happy days, back on all over Southfield Stone in the next at Cheltenham. So why didn't you? What's putting you off Southfield Stone? Is it the penalty? Is it the fact that he hasn't actually been seen that much on? I think has he been called a bit of a thinker a few times this horse? So something tells me he might have done.
I think he's found. You know, I think a couple of times he's probably found less than he could have done. But I mean, he's run against some decent horses. I remember when he won, he beat Angel's Breath.
He did.
If you remember,
in the Dovecote, wasn't it?
In the Dovecote, and I backed him that day. And Nichols said afterwards, I don't think I'll be sending him to Cheltenham.
No, so this is
fascinating. He didn't think he was good enough to go to Cheltenham. And as a hurdler.
Yeah. They were talking about going actually for a handicap, weren't they, at the time?
Yeah. So you know, he may well have his limits, but I mean,
is this interesting then, Paul, that he's here for this? That he's actually now. You know, the more you look at
the only thing I would say, is that if you read the Betfair column, I think he did say that he's got as much work into him as he could. So I mean, he's pretty fit and ready to go.
And a lot of Nichols horses have been like that, right? They've been firing in the winners. Just interesting when you said there, Dave, that, like, is he a bit of a thinker? When he was second last time in the Pendle, which is a perfectly good run in the context of this race.
Yeah, that's a
Thomas Joe 8 again. Is it Thomas Jew 8? What is that? Thomas Job or Thomas
008?
Thomas 008. I've done this again.
Thomas J 008 or Thomas Joe 08.
Thomas Joe 08. He's okay.
Or Juice, and he's at the
Chancing Pylon on his chasing debut. Good on you, Thomas. Good to have you back on the show. We've got another one, I believe. We got to Neil's theories there. Not that fussy, not that fussy for me, not that fissy. I'll get to him in just a second. For Jim McGee, good to have you on, Jim.
But just on Southfield Stone, when he got beat at Kempton, he was beat at 1.07 in running. And then earlier on at Exeter,
tells me
he was
that
beat at 1.3 in running.
He has been called a thinker before.
So.
Not that fussy. Okay, Dan Skelton bidding to bounce back from the defeat of All Mankind in the first. He's a horse that I thought they were getting ready for the novice handicap. Sorry to mention that again, Kills. Last season, and he just kept belting the odd one.
Yeah, he did. I mean,
he got it right last time.
He ran well in some. You know, he was fairly highly tried. You know, he ran well in some decent races.
I was with him a lot of the time.
Ran in the Caspian Caviar Gold Cup. I don't think he really stays it that strongly when the ground is soft. Obviously, the ground isn't soft now, so he might be okay. But in terms of promise and ability, I'd say he's number, joint third.
So maybe a handicap down the line.
Yeah, I think something has to. Personally, I think something has to go wrong if one of the front two in the betting doesn't win, but then one of the front two in the betting didn't finish in the first two in the opening race at Cheltenham. So it can happen.
It's really tough.
When it comes to doing things like play spots, when there's a 4-runner chase, I put them all in, no matter what the price is.
Right.
And every now and again you'll get a big one.
We are starting to get extremely competitive at Cheltenham for our next couple of races. We've got a 3:15 staying handicap hurdle, and then we're going over fence as well. These are absolute belters. Big fields are the case of the day, but not at the moment. The 4 runners are just getting ready to go off for the 240. Last minute look at the market with Neil Hubbard, please.
Yeah, tightened right back up, but Southfield Stone is out to bigger than 2-1. Pylon's your favourite 2.8, Not That Fusey 5.7, and even Cool Cody is into 6-1.
Quick word for Cool Cody, Paul, 9-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're going to be, if you're still a novice chaser at the age of 9,
he's only just started, isn't he?
It's got to be, yeah.
Soldier of Love ran well in second yesterday.
Yeah, I suppose
we beat him last time.
But he's again on official figures, he's the worst horse in the race on hurdle figures, and he's the oldest horse in the race.
Okay, we're off and running, and interestingly, Southfield Stone
does take the lead.
All these Southfields you associate with being in different colours, don't you? Your Southfield theatres and your
Pylon made an absolute
Pylon went the first. Neil Hubbard, there, what's the market saying?
Yeah, they've flip flop now, and he's out to about 9-4 now. He made an absolute hash of that first one.
So do we go in play? Do we see how he gets over the next fence?
You've got to watch the next couple.
We've got to watch the next couple. Let's see how they go over Southfield. Pings it. Are we slow again, boys? That's seen him right on the back foot.
Incidentally, I think Southfield has edged slightly to the right at both those fences. Not enough to make any difference whatsoever, but...
Well, we'll see. He's getting his own way, isn't he? Cool Cody with Adam Wedge on, riding a bit more prominently than normal, these Evan Williams horses. We associate them with hold-ups. Not That Fussy is around about 3 lengths off, and Pylon. As we come up to the third fence, Richard Johnson's probably thinking, what now, Paul? Oh, let's just pop him over and hope for the best.
Again, he's trying to build a horse's confidence back up, isn't it? So it's okay having a run, but he's got 2 coming fairly close proximity here, isn't he? So he's got to get the first one right.
They're in the home straight for the first time then, over the 2 mile 4 trip. Over they go. That was better,
that
Neil
was fine.
Hubbard.
Yeah, that was perfectly fine, but he's near enough like or he was for a moment, the outsider of the field very briefly, but he's back into second favourite now. The market is sort of giving him a bit more love.
He
just looks slow.
He's what you call deliberate, Paul, isn't it? He's having a look.
It's what you call novice, isn't it?
He's having a think.
He hasn't run over fences, whereas Southfield Stone at the moment hasn't touched a twig.
Yeah.
So that's because he's running a stack of chases already.
I think if I was on Southfield Stone, I'd be very, very happy now,
I would be very pleased. I mean, especially, that's like you said, Paul Nicholls says he's got him particularly fit for this. So
let's watch him. He's straight there that day. Not that Fussy's jumping all right. And again,
just slow.
If anything, he's going backwards.
He's out to 7-1 now.
I'll put 0 on that, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets pulled up.
Yeah, he's not going at all well at this stage.
He's not enjoying it. He's not enjoying it. He's not. Between the fences, because he knows he's running to another one, so he's on and off the bridle. Like, what I mean, some horses don't fear fences and still make the mistakes, and they carry on enthusiastically. But I got the impression that, oh no, I've got to go to another fence. Like,
he's
losing a length or so at every fence.
If you're Dan Skelton at the moment and you're watching your brother Harry about 2 lengths off, what are you thinking? He's going to know a bit about the Nicholls horse, isn't he? He's probably thinking, right, I need Cool Cody to put up a bit of pressure, which he is now doing.
I mean, he's, you can see Not That Freeze, if he stays in contention, moving quite nicely into contention.
He's hardly jumped a fence pylon, guys. He's now about 10 lengths off them.
Yeah, Not That Fusey is quite interesting because he's definitely just sort of like riding his own race there, isn't he, in third?
Yeah, he's just sit there and hope
pick up the pieces or whatever.
Hope they soften each other up. I'm not sure Cool Cody's good enough to soften up Southfield Stone.
He's certainly trying to have a go, isn't he? So we'll find
out.
He's
having a go, but he's pretty much had his own way. And if you're not, some horses don't mind horses running alongside them. They're not fighting.
He's certainly keeping him from going out to the right, isn't he? Let's face it.
Yeah, exactly. He's straightening him up.
So he's straight. Just got in a bit tight.
Yeah, he's popping them like a bit, more professional than horses that haven't had a run.
We're about 4 out then, Neil. What does the market say about Not That Fussy? Is the one who's just let them get on with it a little bit?
Yeah, he's around 4-1. Cool Cody is 2-1, if not a little bit shorter. Southfield Stone even money, but the market is quite fond of Cool Cody here.
Dickie
and obviously
Johnson's going to give Pylon a score round now, guys. That's all he can basically do. He's looking like he's a handicap chaser already down the line. Amazing how quickly these fortunes turn, isn't it, when they get to Cheltenham early season?
Philip Hobbs has had a few horses that have started really slowly. over fences and done all right. If you remember the likes of Menorah and What's Up Boys and that, their first tries at chasing.
If only you could aim at a novice handicap, Paul.
Oh, get out of it.
If only you could aim at a novice handicap. Okay, here we go then. 3 out. This tricky downhill 3 out fence. Southfield Stone pops it up. Comes over the best of all. Cole Cody, though, absolutely on the bridle still. Harry Cobden there. Had a little quick look behind his legs.
He's favourite.
Not that fussy comes off. He's just a little bit outpaced now. So the sprint's on. I'll tell you what, Cole Cody's just headed him here. What's Southfield Stone going to say, Paul?
I thought he was still going better, but that's why I don't bet him running, because I'm a terrible judge.
Not that fussy rallies. Is it too late?
Well, he's getting into it, and he's not far away.
So they're coming off the home turn then. Cole Cody running a massive race at 5 to 1 the outsider. Comes up best at 2 out. Is this where we're going to see the ability of Southfield Stone come to the fore? Harry Cobden's just nursing him. Not that fussy. He's still got 3 lengths to make. Up he comes up best. How's he going to get up that hill? His first time to Cheltenham. How's he going to do it? Cole Cody does stay. In fact, he's wandering. Whoa, he's going all over the place. Harry Cobden's having to be his best. Not that fussy, booked for 3rd, but he has done enough.
He's holding him, isn't he?
He's got him just about right there. So listen, he passed the test. A grade for Southfield Stone. Cole Cody. That order pretty much throughout, were they, in second? Not that fussy backing third.
I mean, it wasn't a superstar performance, but there's your betting and running now. If you're looking at screen, you said Cole Cody had gone favourite. Harry Cobden hadn't moved a muscle. He wasn't worried about the other horse taking it past him. Sometimes you see him come alongside and they think, oh God, he's going past me. Harry Cobden was just quite happy. I'm not going to ask him yet. Doesn't matter what the other one does.
Probably knew he couldn't ask him yet because something.
Right. Exactly. It was just a very, very confident, thinking man's ride, wasn't it? I mean, it was just a very good ride.
He's a top boy now these days. Market then Neil Hubbard did absolutely the market react to that. Did they know that Harry Cobden had something left in reserve?
A little bit. I mean, like Cole Cody hit a low of 2.02, so around even money. You can understand him getting short enough because he was travelling okay as they sort of come down the hill and turn for home. Southfield Stone only hit a high of 4 though, which is 3 to 1. So he never went massive, considering his SP would have been broadly similar to that, really, because of the support for Pylon, who was just there'll be other days for him, you would think. Southfield Stone was pretty okay, really, I think there. I mean, I'm not saying you're going to get carried away with the form or anything like that, but
Cole Cody had £9 to find according to the handicap at the level weights, and he had a run behind his belt. So you give him a couple of pounds for that. The win. Do you think the way that he's just won a little bit after last? Look, he's proved himself. A tick you need, Paul Kealy, on your CV if you're a horse going through the Cheltenham season towards the. You need to get the tick, don't you?
What's he going to run in though?
Well, that's the point.
Is he going to? He ain't going to handicap. He ain't going to be good enough for Grade 1 races.
No, definitely not.
I think he's limited.
But he's got a handicap mark that will get him into these.
Yeah, but he's got. So I mean, all he can run in is
the old Mile Fleet.
Mile Mile Fleet, the Burn Group Plate. That's what they call it.
Will he run back here in the paddock?
He could run
Caspian and all of that.
He could run in the Caspian.
You're going to get all of that on your members section. You can get the post-race analysis and indeed all the quotes. Get involved. Paul Nicholls will be telling you very shortly.
And he isn't going to want the Grand Bottomless either, is he?
That's the other thing with him. So maybe they'll put him away for the winter. What did you make of Southfield Stone? What did you make of Pylon? Oh my goodness gracious me. But now we must move on to the Town Moor Doncaster. Why? Because it's Group 1 action here on Race Day Live. The Racing Post with the Betfair Exchange. Myself, Dave Orton, Paul Kealy and Neil Hubbard. And we broke the news to you about an hour ago. No Wembley. My goodness gracious me. It's heavy at Donny. That means, Neil Hubbard, that one ruler is a bit of a hot pot.
2.56, Dave. Yeah, so around 8 to 5, sort of 6 to 4 fractional terms. King Vega next in, 6.8. State Arrest, 7.4. Megalan, 7.8. And double figures the rest.
Now, before we came into this, we thought we were umming and ahhing about a team lay of Wembley because we'd all gone for separate selections, although we thought it was, on form was most likely winner. He's out. Where are we going? Where's Neil Hubbard fancying this?
Yeah, I was sort of... I wasn't necessarily anti-Wembley as such. He was the most likely winner. I quite fancied State of Rest.
Are you fence-sitting, Neil?
A little, yeah. That's sort of where I'm getting to, isn't it? I quite like State of Rest, but I'm very conscious that Joseph O'Brien's saying that he wouldn't want the ground really soft. The fact he's still running is potentially interesting in itself, but the fact it's gone heavy is sort of just a bit like my Ventura selection. I've gone a bit cool on it, but based on that How that worked out, I perhaps shouldn't be. But
Well, initial instincts count for a lot, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get your socials in about this. Where are you playing in the Vertem Futurity, the last Group 1 of the season? Are we going to see a classic winner in this? If one ruler goes and wins, for example, does that make him the next Anti-Post Guineas favourite? Very interesting indeed. The Dewhurst form a little bit thin on the ground now, isn't it? State of rest. He was interesting at Donny last time, wasn't it? But let's hear from you out there. I do like one ruler. I've been a big fan of him since those Sandown novices he was in, and I got it right last time. And he raced away from the favoured stands rail, cruised all over them. I was worried about the ground that day. I think they were as well. That's why he took a walk in the market, and he still did it. Would you be worried about him
still did it. I mean,
out that quickly?
a couple of people told me that they thought Van Gogh was very unlucky and just didn't get to run a race there. But he's certainly franked the form anyway, isn't he? So
I can't have that, you know. I've watched that back and back and back. He's travelling. He's by far the last off the bridle, one ruler. And they got the tactics right that time, having gone too quick for about 3 furlongs out last time.
I mean, again, he's 64 for a reason. He's got the best form in a race. I will be bitterly disappointed, if King Vega doesn't handle the ground. Yeah. I don't think he looks like he will.
Well, look, we want to get some money for charity, so I want to be with one ruler here, Neil, if you don't mind.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
think King Vega's a free bet each way myself.
Well, let's have a look at the place market as well for him afterwards. Let's have a look at one ruler then, Neil. What's the best way to play one ruler? I want to be with him.
Yeah, well, he's 2.58.
He's not going to lead, let's put it that way. I cannot see, after what happened at Doncaster 2 back at this track, when they got him too far back. And I don't think he's got the ability to lead, maybe either. He also does take time to warm up in his races.
Do you think he'll get big? So then,
I've got a feeling he might get big. I think it's a certainty to get bigger after 2 furlongs.
Okay, so we can probably ask for about 2-1 about him in running then.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so he's 2.6 at the minute, around that sort of price, so around 13-8. But what we'll do here is we'll place an in-play bet, but we'll do it pre-play. So what we'll ask for is 3 in decimal terms, which is 2-1 in fractions.
Okay.
And we'll place a £25 bet on him there at 2-1. We'll place that bet, and that'll be unmatched because we're trying to place a bet at bigger than what his current price is. So all we need to do when the bet is unmatched is just hit keep, because what that means is when this market turns in play, what do we want to do with this bet? We want to keep it. So we'll update, and what that means is our request for 2-1 for £25 is now in the queue, and should his price hit 2-1 in running, our bet should be matched. So that's based around how we think the race will develop, how the pace of the race will develop, his run style. Obviously, we don't want to ask for too big a price, because if we're going to ask for too big a price and it gets matched, it probably means he's not going to win. So you don't want to be on a 10-1 shot if he's going to have no chance of winning. So there is an element of guesswork about how big is he going to go. 2-1 feels achievable, doable. So that's on now, Dave.
Super. Paul Kealy, you just said you had an each way good thing in the race. It's King Vega then. Give us a quick argument for him.
Yeah,
He's a maiden
I like him.
into the race.
He's a maiden. Look, right, he has followed very similar path to Kameko and El Park, who Andrew Baldwin won the Futurity with twice. He was second in the same maiden.
Elm Park.
He was second in the same. He was second in the same Sandown maiden. This year to Yabir, who won the Haynes Hanson and Clark afterwards. And then he was second in the Group 3 Solario back there to Etonian, when Etonian held him in.
He screamed a miler that day.
He was green and all over the place, and it was only in the last 100 yards that he started to pick up, and he's just finished full of running.
Why have we not seen him since then?
Hadn't had a hard race. There was a setback before the Autumn Stakes, I think, which is where he was going to go again, following the very, the same route. Might have been the Royal Lodge, I don't know, one of the two, but he was.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But he couldn't run there, so he's coming here without that little bit of extra experience. But I mean, he's almost like a nailed-on same pattern as Kameko, and he's earned himself an official rating of 106 for that run at Sandown. Now that's only the second run of his life, first time after a maiden.
He's got interesting ownership, Keels. He's, I think Glenn Johnson, the footballer's got a bit of this. I think he was in. He came in and did a feature show with the boys in the gallery, and I think he's pretty keen on this. He's called him his Guineas horse. So
yeah, well,
Apollo Racing and DTA Racing. So Glenn Johnson's
he's a lovely
race,
fellow,
Glenn Johnson, fullback.
Absolute racing nut he is, and a lovely guy with it. I met him a couple of times at a couple of do's, and he really is racing man.
You could do with getting one on the board as well, couldn't you? This is it.
Oh, absolutely. Breeds them. as well.
Brilliant.
He's well into it.
Called
Loves
it his guineas or something. Andrew Balding is he's had some years. It started in great fashion with Kamiko, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
It kept on for the next month or two. Just tape it off a little bit.
Yeah, tape it off. Yeah, it might have tapered off a little bit. I mean, he certainly hasn't picked up the money he won overall last year, but this could be a very nice horse. I just like the fact that he was being set out along the same path that he set the other ones out on, and now looking at the race. He's got an official rating of 106 for 2 runs. That's only £5 below one ruler.
They kind of had to give him that. They haven't run in the Solario, though, didn't they? With the Tonian, who was thought to be Hannah's Guineas. Osfor Chindic came out and started improving past him. But okay, so they're the two at the top of the market. William Buick versus Oisin Murphy. There's a narrative for you going head to head. Is there anything else? A lot of love for that there. Joe Holden comes on. One Rule and Magellan forecast. Magellan, Paul Kealy. I was told this was John Gosden's best 2-year-old. Hasn't quite gone to plan.
You get a lot of this so-and-so's best 2-year-old. I was told something 5,001 was Andrew Balding's best 2-year-old. He's got about 4 better.
Slow year for John and the 2-year-old.
Slow year. I mean, he's been beaten for 3 times on the spin. He was actually quite eye-trusted. He stayed on quite well behind one ruler in the autumn stakes. You can see him getting a little bit closer.
It's not been a kind race this, to John. 7 runners in the past decade.
It hasn't.
One placing.
Not been that kind to Godolphin. They haven't won it for a long while.
No, we were talking about that.
2007.
Ibn Khaldun, wasn't it?
2007.
Sheikh Mo's won it, of course.
Casamento, but in his colours, not the Godolphin colours.
Let's get some more on the screen then. Socials coming up. Oh, okay. All right, that's it. We're calling it that because they are going in for the Vertem Futurity. Max Swiney, let's talk about this one, Neil Hubbard. We've got to give him some love. He had beaten Wembley, of course, earlier in the season, who would have been hot favourite for this.
Yeah, and if you look at his form on soft ground where he beat Cadillac on his penultimate start, if the soft ground is key to him, then he's very interesting here. I mean, if he came here straight from that Cadillac run, then he'd probably be a little bit shorter than what he is. You always
associate Bolger with the Dewhurst and not necessarily this race, don't you? Let's have a look at his record.
Yeah, he won it a few times, didn't he?
Yeah, 5 runners in the past decade, only 1 placing as well for Jim. But this would certainly be a topical winner, I think, if it went in. Let's put it that way.
They're not gonna need to run at the level of a usual.
Roger Varian's supplemented Baradar, of course, took this out of Kingston Hill. Any love for that?
He's trading at 11, so a little bit of money for him. He's sort of close to being single figures. So
last one going in then is One Ruler. Good luck wherever you're going in the Vertem Futurity. Sorry for cutting you off there, Neil, but this is going to be welly time.
And it's funny, Baradar is by Muhar, so champion sprinter, but Muhar seems to be getting a lot of horses that stay well.
I know, he does, absolutely. We have to look into his further pedigree probably there. You're right. You get that, don't you? I don't know, a lot of the Guineas winners, you see them throwing up middle distance horses as well. Right then, last one, Group 1 for us here in 2020. What a year it's been. Who's going to come out on top? Away we go. Max Swiney ridden from the gates. Apart from that, it looks okay. In fact, just looking for the absolute outside of the lot, Emperor Supreme, he's taking a keynote. But it is Cobb and Adam Kirby for Clive Cox in the China Racing Club colours that go on, setting a pretty good pace, Paul Kealy.
Yeah, setting a fair pace, I think. They're all tugging a little bit. This is going to take some getting, this is,
Yeah, Baradar's keen. Magellan keen just behind.
I've settled now. I was a little bit worried, King Vega with a white face second last. He seems to be settled and happier now.
He's looking at One Ruler, isn't he? He's basically latched onto him.
Yeah,
William Buick is now making a move, guys. He's not happy. He's coming towards the stand side. He's got Max Swiney on his flank. Neil Hubbard, the market.
Yeah, the market hasn't reacted to Cove being out in the lead there. One Ruler, 2.72. He's just nearing 2-1, but we're just matched now on One Ruler. But he's still favourite at the minute.
I'd say Max Swiney's handling the ground best of everything at the moment. State of Rest comes out the bridle. He's been going in it. So now we're 3 furlongs out. Paul Kealy, who's going to win it?
God, I don't know. Who's one on the purple over on the far
side?
That's
Baradar. He's been supplemented. Here comes One Ruler. What's he got left? Will Buick's just holding on to. Adam Kirby's still got a bit though. Could this be Clive Cox? Now the big 2 are coming after him. This is Max Swiney and One Ruler. King Vega, Paul's absolutely gone. Cobb on the far side, Baradar been supplemented. Roger Varian, could this be this day? One Ruler just looking like he's finding that Autumn Stakes run coming a bit soon. Kevin Manning goes past him on Max Swiney, but Baradar takes it up. One Ruler does his best to rally. In fact, he's coming back near the finish. Max Swiney's there as well. Is this going to be Jim Boulder taking out another 2-year-old Group 1? It looks like that's going to be the case. If you got involved on the anti-post gamble, go collect. Max Swiney in those famous colours just sees off One Ruler. Baradar back in 3rd, Cobb in 4th. The rest nowhere. Neil Hubbard, how did the market tell us that was going to react?
What price did Baradar go?
Baradar hit a low of 1.16 in running.
That's why I don't bet in running, you see.
Yeah, very short price.
2 races in a row you've said that.
The winner, Max Swiney, a high of 25.
Yeah.
and one ruler went even money. So we got our in-running back bet matched like mid-race at the right time.
Okay.
And then he hit a low of even money, but he had no answer to the Jim Bolger horse.
Nothing is going to travel like a dream on that ground, Paul, is it? And they were all at one case or another.
No, well, it's funny. I thought Barradar was travelling like a dream at one point, but obviously, you know, it's like a 1 mile, 1 furlong race, isn't it? This is the problem. It's deep ground. It's really hard. They're going to have to stay. And Max Swiney has just outstayed them, basically.
What are you thinking if you were on Wembley now, the horse that was tied in closely with this? How do you, I mean,
they must be absolutely convinced. I mean, are we definitely certain that it is the ground?
well, we haven't. That's a good point. The boys in the gallery will hopefully tell us that. I mean, it is ground. It is ground we're hearing. It is.
I mean,
ground.
I'd be, you know, I mean, you're here. I'm assuming he must go to Breeders' Cup.
That's what I was just about to counter.
They must have another plan. You know, I mean, if he goes away for the rest of the season, if he goes away until a 3-year-old, I mean,
don't forget they got some Basilica for the breeders as well.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't exactly rattling ground in the duos, was it?
No.
You know what I mean? So he's handled it. So I don't quite get it. I'd have let him take his chance.
Daniel Mann, who gave us our social comments, you were all over this, McSwiney. Neil, it was around about 25 to 1 in the week, wasn't it? That Wembley line, the graph on Betfair throughout the last 48 hours have been all about the Bolger horse. He's a big chap looking at him there, guys, isn't he? Kind of dwarfs the horses on the far side. One ruler off of me, looks maybe like the Autumn Stakes, took a little bit of shine off him, but the action he's got, he doesn't want heavy ground. He's actually run really well.
He's actually run his heart out, and he's tried all the way to the line. I don't think you can knock him at all.
Just interesting on the winner is obviously by New Approach out of a Teofilo mare, so you would think he's going to stay by Bolger, but you think he's going to stay a lot further than that, and he's introduced at 20s for the Derby.
Now this is the point I was going to get to this. We've got no standout 2-year-old colt really, have we? For the classics going forward, unless someone can tell me one. They've all sort of been beating each other a little bit, Paul, haven't they? Do you think we will see some real hardcore 2-year-olds coming out early season on the all-weather?
Well, you might do.
Gosden's got to have something.
Yeah, might do, but it's got an Aidan O'Brien latecomer written all over it again, isn't it?
Okay.
I mean, so how many of us had heard of Serpentine at this time last year?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So that's what it looks like. Because they have got so many 3-year-olds, right? And you know, it's like you're going. It's 8 months to the Derby, and 8 months is a huge amount of time in the progression of a 2-year-old to a 3-year-old.
I think we can categorically say this won't be talked about with the guineas in mind.
Well, it's just interesting looking at his entries. He's entered in the Irish 2,000 guineas, but he doesn't.
That's an early closer,
but he doesn't hold a Derby entry.
Okay,
so he would need to be supplemented. It'll be interesting if next year we see him in those colours or not, though, or whether he'll be.
Well, yeah, I mean, he'll get rid again, won't he?
It's good to see Jim Bolger taking out a 2-year-old Group 1 again, isn't it? 10 years ago he was farming.
He was doing it all the time, wasn't he?
Yeah. It flew off a little bit, and these colours, it's great to see. So, and it was a really brave performance, that Max Swiney, all about the ground, isn't it? Saw Truchans lowering the colours of Stradivarius, and then some on heavy ground last year. It's a tough time, isn't it, for you flatbackers out there at the moment? Or did you just put your eggs in that basket? Let us know. We've had Stephen Mann coming in with that one. King Vega just hardly went a yard, Paul, did he?
No. Either not good enough or didn't handle the conditions at all.
It was almost a bit. It was almost like something was amiss.
One of those where you think it's too bad to be true. But
yeah, I'd agree with that. So you can get again all your post-race comments, the fallout from the race. Where do the winners go? What the beaten horses? What do we think? Our analysts think. You can get that on your members section or in the paper tomorrow. Don't be sure to miss that. Huge flat racing season we have had, culminating in that 2:55 then. The results was there on the screen, wasn't it? Max Mohani beating One Ruler, and was it Barradar back in third?
At least we forgot to get involved in the place market for my horse.
I was very close to saying he was 1.64 places, but we quickly moved on, so that was probably a blessing.
Plenty still to come here. Then we're going to go back to Cheltenham. Cheltenham's sort of like dominating now. I think we've got Newbury coming on as well. Hock deep at Newbury. It's going to be who are the heavy ground horses that are going to take that out. The boarding team fancy Alunak and our 410. That's the last race here. We'll be giving you on Race Day Live here with the Racing Post and the Betfair Exchange, our sponsors. Okay, so we've got a 3:15 coming up as to let the dust settle now on the Racing Post Racing Post Trophy, the Vertem Trophy. Just watching the replay there, and it was a brutal race, wasn't it? The more you look at it. Okay, and we will get the time of that race as well, because I imagine that's going to be something like 7 seconds slow or something like that.
Yeah.
The 2 came clear, and again, stand side, wasn't it? So I think we've got one more race coming from Donny, hasn't we? We will give you. But now let's go back to Prestbury Park then, because this is where it starts to get really competitive. The 3:15. I want to come to Paul Kealy straight away with this so we can get the market up, because Paul, you really like one of this. Fun enough, we're agreeing for the first time today. We're hoping that Johnson finally gets one on the board.
He's not had a great time of it, has he? I mean, he's ridden 2 horses so far, neither of them jumped very well.
Here he is on Flink.
And here he is on Flink. And now Flink, I thought he was really eye-catching in the Silver Trophy at Chepstow.
Strong form race usually, Paul, isn't it?
It's very often a decent race. And if you remember, they had the last hurdle was omitted, so it was a long way from home.
Yeah.
But they basically quickened up in the straight, and it looked like he was going to get badly back. Well, he did get badly outpaced, and he dropped back to 6, and it looked like he was just going to finish a well-beaten 6. But then after the last one, long running, he fairly flew home, finished 3rd. That was 2 mile 3.5. He's my fame and glory, a former Ascot Gold Cup winner.
Yeah.
He's got Stayo written all over.
He has won over the trip before, hasn't
he? And he ran over the trip as a 4-year-old, though, over 2 miles 7 furlong, first time over hurdles, and patently didn't stay now. But you can imagine how much bigger and stronger he is 2 years later. So that doesn't worry me. More worries me just Richard Johnson might be in a little bit of a fug at the moment.
No, come on, we're talking about multiple champion jockeys.
Yeah, but it's that sort of strike rate for a multiple champion jockey at the top of his name is very low. It is just incredibly low. He's now, like I said, it's now 3 from 46.
Well, Neville's Cross must have been one of the horses that he won on, surely, in those figures, because that wasn't that long ago. Neville's Cross now ridden by Puppy Power, and Neil Hubbard, he's just about the top of the market. Have you got a play here for us?
I'm quite happy to, if it's 2 votes to 1.
Shall we Flink it?
Yeah, that's fine. My sort of angle into this race was going to be a pretty dull one, to be honest, which was the 5 places around To Be Fair. I think you can pretty much count on him.
I'm not going to argue with that. I've just placed my first ever Dutching bet on,
well done. Nice
Betfair.
Hey!
And the other one was To Be Fair.
Okay.
Here we go then.
He's just so consistent.
So how can we play this, Neil? The 2 horses that we like, Jack Tudor taking 5 off To Be Fair, the Potemps horse, I think we can say this is a Potemps qualifier. First 6 places, you get qualified for the final.
I do. I'd have a little Dutching win bet, and I'd cover the stake for both bets on To Be Fair.
Can we do that,
5
Neil?
places market.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's how I was going to play it. It was just to be To Be Fair in the place market. So, but yes, so if we have a look at the win market here, where we've got To Be Fair and what was the other one? Flink, yes. So we'll add both of them to the bet slip, and as we've shown before, we'll hit that stake box. We'll add £25. That will split that across both of our selections. So regardless of...
Funny enough, they're almost exactly the same price, and I could have just done that myself.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to be a maths whiz to perhaps sort that one out, but the functionality still helps. And then across the 5 places, so we've got a £25 liability at the minute, and To Be Fair is even money to finish in the first 5. So if we have £25 on that, we know that as long as To Be Fair finishes in the first 5, then we're going to be at worst level on the race, and then we've got those 2 playing for us in the win market.
These are the sort of races, aren't they? Early season, Cheltenham, if you're wishing for the jump season to come back with a bang. These are the sort of handicaps that really get you going, isn't it? These are just different gravy.
I love a handicap. I particularly love a handicap chase, but I mean, I do like a handicap.
Why is that? Why?
Prices generally. I mean, I like betting at prices. I like to have a crack at something at decent odds.
Don't we all?
You just get more options when you've got 20 runners. Simple as that.
But why the chases over the hurdles?
I don't know. I've always liked the spectacle of watching horses jump fences.
Something like the Ladbrokes Trophy, for example.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I'm a bit of a strange character, I suppose, when it comes to racing. My favourite races on the flat sprints. My favourite races over jumps are 3 mile chases. Plus,
talking about sponsors,
that's very sort of similar in a way. I was talking to my mate about stuff, and he was like, "Have you had a look at the Cesarewitch? That's your type of race." And I was like, "Oh yeah, the only 2 races I've looked at so far was a 5 furlong sprint and a 2 mile staying handicap." And it's almost like the 2 extremes are the ones that sort of appeal.
And people that don't, watch racing day in day out, are like, "Why are you looking at this insanely difficult puzzle?"
Yeah.
Because I think
risk reward, isn't it? I think the reward's there, isn't it?
And the great thing about these handicappers, most of them, we should know a lot about them, should we? Do you look for the unexposed runner in there, like Flink, who's got that improvement coming up, or the back class initially? What do you I hover over a bit of back class initially.
I do a lot. I'm very much of a back class man. I tend to back far too many horses.
This is a horse whose handicap markers come down because they lost their way a bit.
I tend to back far too many horses that can win on bits they did ages ago. Like, and I'm going to try and wean myself off that a little bit because I think I do.
It's either egg on face or it's absolute genius.
I think you've got to see them show something. And there's a horse in here that is absolutely by 100 miles the best handicapped horse in the race, and that's Goodbye Dancer.
Oh man, he's very difficult to catch right.
But he has finished 6 of 6, beating 47 lengths, and 6 of 6, beating 15.5 lengths.
Did win last year, though.
In 2 starts, yeah. But I mean, he won at the on soft ground at the December meeting here off 124, and he won pretty easily from Arse Ben, who I think improved a fair bit afterwards as well. And Champers and Ice Reserve. That was a really, really competitive race. And if he's anywhere near that form, he'll nearly win, and he's 20-1. But he's not beating a horse home. The 2 runs he's had this year will put him near last and first. So what do you do with him?
Let's get some socials then. Paul Kealy giving us a lesson on back class. Then it would be indeed Goodbye Dancer if you were going that way. Mark Smith coming back on. To be fair, first leg of an each-way double. What's the second, Mark? Let us know. Andy Sim, I'm on Ballon on a budget. He's interesting, isn't he, for Tom George, and has been backed each way at 12-1. Good luck, Andy. What else we got coming in? Sir Man. Champagne Court beat Imperial Aura this time last year. We'll get a line on that in a second. We've got another one coming in, I think. And Joe Holden comes back. What do the panel think of the 2-year-olds this season? All right, well, let's deal with the 2-year-old line first quickly before we go back to the Cheltenham race. You did have a very strong opinion at the start of the season, Paul, that this was a below par generation because of the way that they'd all been sort of rushed around and we hadn't seen anything. You didn't think the standard was quite up to what it should be, did you? Has that changed recently?
No, I wouldn't.
Did you think the Dewhurst was a cracking race, for example?
I don't think it was. I don't think it was a brilliant race. I don't think we've seen a superstar.
I thought it was Thunder Moon after he won at Curran.
Yeah, exactly. He's covered blown out.
Still think he could be the one.
It's a strange year, and I think David Maniche said it pointed. All the horses, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, they've all been rushed into action.
We spoke to him recently, didn't we?
And maybe we should forgive them a little bit and they'll have a proper preparation.
So let's talk about 2021 then in mind, just before we move back to John. How are punters going to approach this through the winter? Are you going to be trusting this 2-year-old form?
To be honest, I wouldn't. I would wait for the trials.
Do you think trials will be overpopulated because we've not got any?
I think we might see some. I think we might see some more competitive trials next year.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Just people try and find out, and you might have horses coming from nowhere as well.
I think the all-weather will be the winner of this year. I'm still pretty sure.
Well, another Gennati or something like that.
Exactly, an Able, Newcastle. We're going to see them. So look out for them. So hopefully that's covered your point.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of perhaps like backward 2-year-olds who haven't been rushed to make these big summer festivals, who, whilst everyone's attention turns for the jumps through November, December time, you might actually get some very interesting 2-year-olds running on the all-weather during this time while trainers try to find out what they've got, to prove what they've got. And so, that will make for interesting trials at the start of next year. I guess the one colt that we haven't seen too much about since he announced himself in the summer is just Battleground, who hasn't really done anything wrong as such. And now you could argue what he's been beaten and stuff because you could argue about that form, but he's
been watching from his stable, hasn't he?
His sort of star has sort of been in ascendancy without actually doing anything after where he's run.
That tells you all you need to know.
What
about
won the
the
Criterium Song Klug, by the way, guys? The Group 2 for Colts and Fillies, the 250. I can't see that yet up on my screen. Neil will get that, but because Van Gogh, of course, or Van Gogh, a couple of weeks ago on the show, is it Van Gogh? Van Gogh.
Yeah, indeed. Something like that, isn't it?
So you've got to Scott isn't around to say that.
The pronunciation on Google, no, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, exactly. But they've taken out another Group 1 team, Ballydoyle. So, hopefully that's done it. We think it's going to be, hopefully next year, something's going to rise through. But the middle distance 3-year-old colts weren't great, were they? Look, we're extremely lucky to have the flat season we have had with the year we've had, but next year.
Well, I guess high definition is the interest. I guess high definition is the interesting one for Aidan O'Brien.
Yes.
So he's a really interesting horse.
Beresford winner. What's it?
Yeah. So he won a maiden by coming from the clouds to win that, and then he sort of did the same to an extent in the Beresford. Again, he's one who's been sort of lightly raced in so much as they've been careful with him, hasn't he? So they must, he hasn't been rushed to do anything. They seem to have let him find his feet in his own way, and you can question what's gone in behind, but just from what he's been asked to do in his 2 runs, I think, there's nothing to dislike about what he's done necessarily. So he's an interesting one.
We've got the Horace Hill coming up at 3:35, guys. Lanakash looks like he's on drifted there, existence in there. But look, there might be a star come out of that. We don't know. We'll find out in around about 20 minutes time here on RP Live. Stick with us. Myself, Dave Orton, Paul Kealy and Neil Hubbard, giving you all the real-time analysis and reaction. How's it going your afternoon? Keep your socials coming. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube as well. Okay, so remind the viewers out there who are just tuning in where we've played, and then we'll talk about battling on a budget for our social.
Yeah, well, we have Dutch, so that is to split our stake across 2 horses on To Be Fair and Flink. And just whilst we're on Flink, he is absolutely friendless in the market. So we backed him at around 7 to 1,
Gosh,
a little bit bigger than 7 to 1.
Is.
And he's out to double figures, so he's as big as 10 or 11 to 1 now. And Neville's Cross at the head of the market, who was around 5.5 when we first started talking about this, is into 4.7, not 4 to 7. 4.7.
They're jostling around at the start, guys. A word for battling on a budget for our social. Johnny Burke's having a really good time at the moment, Gills. Marker 130 after winning our £5 lower at Newton Abbot last time.
Hereford, was it? Was it Hereford?
Was it Hereford?
I've got it down as Hereford in my head, but I could be wrong.
I quite like the runner-up in this.
It was Newton Abbot. That Story of Friends, wasn't it? He beat.
Yeah, and he made a right hash of the last Story of Friends.
So it could be a
Scudamore's
tough
off. Conditional on who claims 7.
Tom George hasn't really ramped up yet. He's a trainer that takes his time of a season.
Yeah. I've got what one at Hereford? Oh, Neville's Cross was Hereford, wasn't it? Sorry,
Absolutely hosed up Neville's Cross.
Hosed up.
The market is suggesting at the moment, guys, that Neville's Cross
beat Imperial Oil last year. That was
the one I want to talk about.
That was in the Silver Trophy.
Yes.
That was the time that told me that Imperial Oil was a serious horse, because he went off like a bat on a hell and still finished third.
We spoke to Nick Schofield, do you remember, and he said there's a big one in Champagne Court. He wants the ground, isn't he, on
he's
top.
never run over more than 2.5, which would...
He started the season very well last year, so that's an interesting social.
Yeah, so it's a good shout.
And he has had a wind operation. Okay, they're jostling around, like I say, just seeing Flink going
What
around.
did you say about him? He needs the better ground. Is that
He
what
wants
Schofield
slightly
said?
He definitely wants to do
That's
some
what
ground.
Schofield said, yeah.
And he did start. Could he be one of these early season types? You get these spring types, like these late horses. You're like, oh, he don't come good to the spring. Well, it does apply, of course, at the start of the season. Some horses are just mad fresh. So is this the market that says the Neville's Cross, despite the fact he's gone all the way up the weights to a mark of 118 to 130, he's only off 10-4. Will he prove too good? Let's find out as they jump away for the 3:15. Good luck wherever you're going this staying handicap. And looking for what's taken the lead. It looks like, is that Bolerico up the front there?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
The
ranked outsider. A strong stayer for Warren Greatrix on the level. Just looking for what it is. Manila Warrior is up there. He's a horse that's got a bit to prove at the minute. Didn't go his way over fences at all for Kim Bailey. Kim Bailey's thrown out a couple of really good winners. One at the course yesterday. So Robbie looks like he's up there. Locks Corner's quite an interesting horse, guys, isn't he? He's basically racked up a 4-timer Paul over hurdles. Over fences.
Yeah.
When I saw him back over hurdles, I'm thinking they're protecting him or are they trying to get him qualified?
Well, it might be trying to get him qualified. It might need a run before going over fences at the next meeting. Monster Drifter.
Monster Drifter, which when you see these colours drifting, although the one race that JP has won at the festival at a massive price, it was the 50 to 1 shot, wasn't it? What was it called? His name?
He's done it twice.
Yeah, he has.
Creon.
The Creon, that's the one for John Joe Neal.
He's done it with a 50 to 1 since then as well.
He said, I was having a terrible day and I threw away $5 grand each way on it.
That was the same day then, what was that horse? Reveille or something?
Reveille
won that novice handicap.
That novice handicap, a brilliant novice handicap.
That was the same day though, wasn't it?
Let's get back to the race. Right out the back. Let's look at the back markers. Goodbye Dancer, Paddy Brennan just riding him cold, the best handicapped horse in the race. Looking for Flink. Neville's Cross made a bad mistake there, guys.
I think that's Flink in 5th, isn't it? Is it not?
Yes, he is. I'm sure. Was that? It's really difficult to see, isn't it, where we are?
Similar colours to Neville's Cross.
Okay, so to be fair, let's concentrate on him, guys. He's out the back. He's one that just comes with a right old rattle. Let's go to the market, Neil Hubbard.
Yeah, there's no issue with To Be Fair in terms of his price. He's still 8.4, which is around the price he went off. Neville's Cross is still your market leader, a little bit weaker now, 5.7. Flink's come back in to 8.4, so he's definitely that prominent position is looked favourably on by the market. Kansas City Chief is close to single figures now. But pretty much as you were, really.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? I mean, 8 hurdles to jump, that's 2 mile, isn't it? So,
yeah.
There's
plenty of
similar colours here. I'm trying to see. I think it was Neville's Cross that made that error, actually, guys.
Well,
It was
yeah,
either that or
that-
Cotswold Way. Very similar colours.
What?
Story of friends. And let's have a look
Flink's
at
got a
Bannon on
lovely
the budget. He's out the back for our social. Where's Champagne Court? He's got a nice position there, Neil Hubbard.
Yeah, just on the outside of Flink, who's got a lovely position down on the inside and seems to be travelling quite nicely.
Yeah,
there.
the question for him will be when at this point, next time, won't it? Because it'd be in uncharted territory. That'd be.
Alan King's got an interesting run here, guys, called the Devil's Drop. Not seen for 797 days, but he was on a 4-timer coming here. He's going nicely in midfield. Talk about another well-handicapped horse, although he just hit one there, Speradek. Do you remember him over fences to Nigel Hawke?
Well, he used to go like a bat out of hell, didn't he? He was placed in,
This is not how they used to ride him.
Placed in Grade 1 chases.
This could be a recovery mission.
Over 2 miles, so he's here at 3. He's obviously here for an outing.
So, Kansas City Chief looks like he's taking it up there.
That is the Fav in about 6 on the inside now, is that not?
Kansas City Chief takes over them with Bellerico, which means they're starting to ramp up the gallop as they go with 6 to go, but they're still right on the far side. Okay, if you had to be on here, one Paul Kealy.
Well, I'm happy the Flink is going well at the moment. Richard Johnson, nothing wrong with the horse's form. I was just worried about, Johnson's state of mind with 2 horses that haven't jumped very well, but he's jumped like a stag so far.
Neville's Cross is finding this.
Missed.
He's novice, guys. I'm watching him out the back. This is a completely different kettle of fish, isn't it? You win on these smaller tracks, your Herefords, etc. You come to Cheltenham, no one gives you any let up, and you've got to jump. He's not done it so far. What's the market saying on the favourite, Neil?
Yeah, well, Flink is into favouritism now. Neville's Cross is out to 7.8, but Flink's your market leader. To be fair, just made a hash of one down the back straight there, sort of landed on all 4 legs at the same time there, which sort of lost some momentum. But Locke's Corner is shortening up in the market, and he's making a nice move.
I'll tell you what's catching my eye out the back. I better go now for Harry and Dan Skelton. They know how to plot up these handicap hurdles, Paul Kealy.
They certainly do. Goodbye Dancer, he hasn't moved a muscle on that. Paddy Brennan.
Did you back Goodbye Dancer?
No,
Did you have a little go? You know what's going to happen here, guys.
It's one of those.
You know what's going to happen here.
I'm fairly sure that I did have a good bet on it when it won last year. So
he owes you nothing.
He owes me nothing, but he's been in my head.
He might mentally torment you here. It looks like Bellerico's going backwards then. Speradek's struggling as well. This is where they get going now. We're coming to that famous third last.
I think Flink's come off it a little bit as well now.
Champagne Court favourite now.
I think all right. Now that's Cotswold Way, isn't it, Kills? I think it's just Sir Robbie's up there as well for.
No, he was shaking along, but you know what it's like with these 3 milers, they tend to come on and off.
The Fav's making a move under Puppy Power. I tell you, still going well. Just there, it looks like Manila Warrior's still going well.
Locke's Corner's favourite.
Locke's Corner. Now they come to 3 out. This jump is absolutely crucial. They're bunching up. Flink's just being asked up. They all come over it pretty well. Yeah, they're okay to stragglers. They're starting to sort themselves out now, guys.
Yeah,
it looks like Kansas City Chief just still. Champagne Court still on the bridle.
Honest Vic favourite. Honest Vic is
Flink is now finding. Come on, Flink, up the inside. What you got? Here comes Neville's Cross. Is he the handicap?
That's Honest Vic on the outside, isn't it? Honest Vic with the red cap.
Yeah, Honest Vic of Henry Daly's. This would be a bit of a surprise.
Odds on, Honest Vic. Odds on.
Flink is now starting to find it. He's going to really need to show proper stamina reserves on the inside. Here goes. So, okay, in we go to the home straight. It looks at a minute like it's Honest Vic to catch. Locke's Corner, what will he find? He does find at the end of the races, albeit over 2 mile 4. Could this be another big price McManus whether they come to the last? Kansas City Chiefs, and in up goes Honest Vic. He's up and over. This looks like it could be a bit of a boil over, although he was around about 14 to 1, so not so big. Locke's Corner in second. This is all over, guys. Do we have a potential final candidate here? I think we're going to have to say an unequivocal yes, because he's absolutely hosed up here, albeit off a mark of 141. Locke's Corner, probably the eye catcher of the race. Paul Kealy said beforehand, huge drifter. What are they plotting up for this one? That'll be interesting in the secretary's room at the moment. I think of John Joe Neal's looking out for his, and looking back, Kansas City Chief run a little bit too well for my liking there, guys. Albeit, as Neil Marland was the 11-year-old, he was up there throughout. I think a race of disappointments.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. I mean, to be fair, made his mistake down the back. Neville's Cross was just never jumping that well. And never particularly travelling that well with the winners absolutely hacked up.
Yes. I was kept expecting somebody to come and do it. Back of a 227-day break.
Yeah, he's done really, really well.
Richard Patrick, very capable claim of taking 3. But Henry Daly's horses, without being unkind to the yacht, you do expect them to come on for their first one.
Of course you do, yeah, you do. I mean, his form is solid. You can't really argue. He's stepped up in trip. He was 5th in the Coal Cup to Damned Company. So, he's obviously seen this trip out a lot better. And I think he's won well.
Yeah,
but he's going to get thumped for it. Now, do horses that streak home in a potential qualifier off a mark in the 140s ruled themselves out of the race.
Would you be
by
looking,
doing so?
Would you be looking at? Okay, so he's now won this kills. I'll probably go to Neil in the market and see how low did he go. Would you be looking at someone like Haydock for now, or the brush hurdles or so? Could you do a Paisley Park?
They dropped the brush hurdles, didn't they? It's just a normal hurdle race now.
Okay, there you go.
It?
Why do they drop the brush hurdles?
I don't know.
Everyone's like it.
I used to quite like it.
Yeah, mini fences basically.
Yeah, well, I used to back the chasers in it.
How long ago was that?
Well, 4 years ago, damn it. You should know. It's your race.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a 3 mile. It's a 3 mile handicap anyway, isn't it? And in
the
terms
valuable
of that race,
3 mile handicap then around about the
again, but one that's going to be
around
running,
about the Betfair Chase
one that's going
just
to be
before
running. It's going to be running completely different conditions.
What's he going to get for that? £7?
It'll be
that puts him on a
he'll
150.
Get a good second. I mean, there's no doubt whatsoever that the eye catcher was in second, is it?
That's Locks Corner, who won his last 4 in
well,
the
he's won his
summer.
last 4 over fences, and I can't remember what his rating was over hurdles, but he wasn't allowed to run over it. The handicapper gave him bang on his chase mark, and he's run his best ever race over hurdles by an absolute.
It was about 110 or
Neil
something.
Mulholland's got his horse in really good form at the moment. So Kansas City Chief for me, from an analyst point of view, from just that handicap point of view, I think I think whether half the field ran their races there, I'd be surprised. But Honest Vic, so could that be his big day?
That could be his big day as fun. I would say Locks Corner finishing second there off 130 is going to
because he'll go up what £5 or £6 for that.
He's going to be at the very least a stone better than his current mark over fences.
Let's have a look. What is his current mark over fences?
He's 130. He's run an absolute blinder. His previous, he's probably run it. Well, he's run a career best there by about £25.
What can you get into off 130 these days?
Well, he's not going to get into off 130 because the handicapper will put his.
He's not going to get into the Paddy Power.
The handicap will put him up a couple of pounds, his chase mark as well. But 130, he's going to be winning races this year back over fences.
How do you feel about that with the handicapper at the moment? Like, how would you feel about that? If you've run over hurdles, do you think they are two completely different disciplines? We see a lot of the time that the horses reverting.
I think it got a stage. I think it got a stage. They changed the rules a few years ago, didn't they? I think they got a stage where it got silly. Now they did have Copperhead entered in this race, and he was something like 20.
Colin Tizards.
Colin Tizards won the Reynoldsdown Chase last year.
Yeah, ran in the RSA, which isn't going to be the RSA next year.
Trying to work out. Well, let me just. We got a bit of time, haven't we? Copperhead had, and I can't look now. Last time he ran over hurdles, Copperhead was rated 116, and I think he had a mark of about.
Do you think they have to keep them level? The marks?
Well, I think he had a mark of 120, and he went up to 155 over fences.
Are you suggesting look out for Copperhead over?
No, because they were entered in this, and it's like, oh my God, he's 6 to 1 favourite anti-post straight away. All the bookmakers think, but then when that's the entry day Monday. Weights comes out Tuesday. Well, hang on a minute. He's suddenly been given 148.
Yeah, it's completely different.
You know what I mean? So
the handicap's
they closed him right up, and obviously they were having Colin Tizards having a look, and the handicapper gave him his answer, and that was it. Okay, we're not running.
Tricky, isn't it?
So it's a difficult one. But
I wonder whether we see Honest Vic over a fence. That might be something, mightn't he? He's only 7-year-old.
Yeah, he's only 7. He's only 7. The runner-up's only 3rd. That's the one you've got to be all over that one, mate.
We will find out
over Locks Corner
later in your members section. Okay, so Locks Corner, keep on the Locks Corner project. He's a very talented horse, isn't he? And whether he wants hot deep ground, I don't know. But keep with the Locks Corner then, according to Paul Kealy. He's the eye catcher so far. Stephen Hughes, you're doing rather well on your socials out there, aren't you? Let's have a look. Stephen Hughes, if you remember, has been getting in the social media comments, which we asked you for at the top of the show. I asked him what was in his lucky 15s. 2 from 2 so far. Venturous and Honest Vic. Mujbar comes up in the 335. What we know as the Horace Hill at Newbury. Shall we go there then? Stephen Hughes, you must be getting excited as the dust settles on that very competitive handicap hurdle. We've got one more.
Well, I don't know what prices he got, but they've gone in at 6 and 12. So
this is not just like your favourites one, is it?
He must be sitting on a very nice bet there.
This is a worldie. Okay, let's get the market up then for the 335. We know it as the Horace Hill. And Neil Hubbard, take us through it. Is Lanakash still the 2 to 1 mark? He was on about 5 to 4.
He's
when
drifting.
Betting opened up.
He's really weak now. So he has been matched at a low of even money on the exchange, and he's out to 3.4 now, which is around 12 to 5. So he's 3.35. Existence 6.8 with Mujbar 6.8, Nastasi 11.5, Star of Orion 14. And yeah, 15's all bigger the rest, really.
Just to whet your appetite, this is called the Molson Coors Beverage Company Stakes.
Don't drink lager, do I?
I can see you starting to warm up. You've not had a winner yet on the show. I'll tell you what, that bottle of red that you had warming up's going to get it later, Kills, isn't it? Absolutely. Okay, so Kills, how did you look at this?
Right. Well, it's result ground. Is what the bookmakers would call it. I'd have thought. Yesterday we were looking at it and I thought, crikey, these are really slow. I mean, they were running. I think the 7 furlong race yesterday was only about 2 seconds faster than the RP standard for a mile.
So it's like the Somme.
And they called it. They changed it. It was heavy yesterday. They called it soft heavy. They changed it back to heavy after one race, which doesn't surprise me. And the times are even slower than yesterday. It is bottomless. It is as heavy as I've seen it on the flat Newmarket for 5 or 6 years at least. And it is really hard work. So nothing against Lanarkash, but he had his win on good to firm ground, and he had his second at Doncaster on good ground. He's completely untested on it, and he's going to have to stay a mile and a furlong to to win it. This is the only thing. He's got the best form in the race.
I haven't seen a race from Newbury so far today, but we can only assume.
Well, I was just looking at the times, and by comparison to RP standard, they were slower than they were yesterday.
Okay.
I'll give you an example of just how slow. I think the 6 furlong nursery was 10 seconds outside standard. 10 seconds for 6 furlongs. It's about 170 yards, isn't it?
Yeah, there was a turn up in the race last year when Kenzai Warrior won on heavy ground. He beat, who was the favourite that day? Sunk out of sight. It was San Pedro for Aidan O'Brien, a name that we don't necessarily resonate with. Neil Hubbard, do you like one in this before we go to Kealy's selection?
It was just going to be to take on the favourite, so I was just going to lay Lanarkash for those reasons,
Let's
really.
do that.
I think Existent is fine as at around 7.4, but he's one of a number of rivals, so I'd sooner just have the field on my side. It's not saying Lanarkash can't win, but I'd sooner have the field running for me here, really. So he's 3.35, so we'll just place a lay bet, so we're going to back him to not win. We'll take a £25 bet there, and we've got the rest of the field running for us. So if Lanarkash wins, we're going to lose just over £50. If any other horse wins, we'll win £25.
I'm surprised that this is running and Wembley didn't, if you like. I thought this was the one horse, and the market suggests he's always going to hate the ground, this. But Roger Varian, he surely didn't have to run him in this. There are other options, Kills, aren't there?
No, he didn't. He didn't. He's probably...
Form-wise, he's won, isn't he?
He's probably quite happy to do. But here you go. I mean, Roger Varian has run another horse in the Vertem Futurity, who was arguably less exposed than this one, and he supplemented it in. Now, surely a horse with 7 furlong form at Doncaster, if he thought he stayed a mile, he'd be running him in the Futurity.
Interesting. So you think he might come up short stamina-wise?
Got to stay a mile to win this, without a shadow of a doubt. The 7 furlong race on the card so far today was 14 seconds outside the RP standard. That's a hell of a lot. So
that's a jumps race.
He's got to run for as long as it takes to run a mile normally.
Okay, so you think, despite the official figures standing up like a sore thumb, and despite the fact that
he's the best horse in the race by miles, if none of the others handle it, he'd get away with it.
That's my point. Why? Surely you could have just gone to your weather if you wanted to get another run into him and then put him away. Maybe.
Well, I mean, it's a group race. It's just a group race with awful prize money.
But would you? My point being, if you're Roger Varian, right, for Sheikh Hamdan Al Maktoum, who is going to be the owner of the year, on the flat, and what if this comes last? You know what I mean? Well, sorry, Governor. We were worried about the ground. Maybe we should have pulled him out. I mean, or actually, we think he's by Cable Bay. I was trying to look into his pedigree. There is some soft ground there, but the stamina thing does all of a sudden. It's a bit of a worry.
Stamina is more a question mark for me than anything else. It's just a case of Willie last time. He obviously deserves to be favourite. He's the best horse in the race. We're talking about a second favourite who's won a maiden last time out in existence.
Well, he's an interesting horse because he was meant to run well at the Coventry and they rushed him. And he had that break and he came out of Newmarket.
Could simply be an example of a horse that was rushed. I actually backed him then. He didn't show much at all, but he has come out and he's won by 6 lengths on heavy ground, and he went through it like none of the others could. So you can understand why they're on him.
No,
I think he's the example. Yeah, I think he's the example of when we talk about rushing 2-year-olds to get there. He obviously had to be nominated, didn't he? So they obviously thought he was good. Then they ran him there because they nominated, and then he's had a break. Yeah. So it's obviously like that all came too quick.
The fact they ran in there last time, you thought, well, okay, this is a good horse. You calling about rush preparations? That's my worry about him. That was what put me off him here. was that I thought he's a horse coming back from a break. I'm not suggesting he's going to bounce, but this is 2 runs on heavy ground, quick succession. I'm not so sure about him.
It's just
Kieran
interesting.
Fallon's interesting, by the way, for John Gosden. He's bidding to make it 3 from 7 here from John Gosden. I don't know whether he's got association with Sheepy Park, the owners, but it's an interesting.
But you see, again, we are talking about 2-year-olds, some of whom are lightly raced, and you don't know how good they are. I remember that 2 years ago, the winner was a 33-1 shot.
This has
you
been
know who that was?
Go on.
Mohara.
Oh yes, Mohatha.
Now, Group 1 winner
Marcus
this year,
Rigoni.
Absolutely top class. So you just don't know where they're going to come from.
He stands out like a sore thumb, though, Keels. In
terms of the winners of this,
talking about
but I think,
Crazy Horse, who was all right.
That's
Tell Dad,
that's
Piping Rock,
recent.
Nebo.
In
fact, no favourite has won this in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
He's been supported a little bit at Lanakesh now. He's gone back to sub 2
This
to
was a
1.
case for me of this is when do you get involved? Everything's a prize. This is one of those cases. It can be a bit of a cliche sort of in that, can't it? But I genuinely think this should be under 2 to 1 to my mind.
I was absolutely convinced some really, really good horses had run that previously, and I've just had a look and I can't find one.
In the Horace Hill.
Chris, years ago now, I don't know, Tyrrell, I remember Tyrrell winning it. There you go, that was a Guineas one. But you've got to go back to 1989.
Have you gone on Wiki?
So maybe I was just trying to remind myself of the name of it, but maybe I'm just reminding myself how old I am these days, because that's a long while ago. But you could find something. I'm half sort of semi-interested in Autumn Twilight.
Yes, he's the one that I suggested might be the pick your pieces up horse.
He's one on soft ground. I think he'll be all right.
David Manuzzi is having a wonderful run,
he's having a good season
with his 2-year-olds.
Yeah.
These yards that go on soft ground, you never worry about a Manuzzi horse on soft ground.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, come back in for some Portafav. Just dipped under 2s again.
What is Autumn Twilight in the market? Jamie Spencer's
28
booking as well. He's drawn 10, which I like. That's big. That is big. I was asked for selections this morning. I thought Lanakesh was the most likely winner. I put Autumn Twilight up from memory, and I didn't expect him to be that big. I thought he'd be about 10 to 1. Should we talk about Mujbar for our lucky 15?
He's 4 points out there. Sorry, just on Autumn Twilight. He's 4.6 in the 4 to be placed market.
Would you?
I mean, if both of you two are...
Who is Autumn Twilight?
Autumn Twilight.
Yeah.
Spencer on. Do you think he'll get too far back, under Spencer? That would be my slight worry. He attacked at the furlong mark at Salisbury.
I'm not sure patience is a bad thing when the ground's this deep, because if they go too fast, they'll all fall in a hole, won't they?
That Salisbury form was boosted as well in the week at Newmarket. The 4th came out and absolutely hosed up in a fillies race. So Autumn Twilight we like. Before we go to Mujbar, then are you going to place a trade, Neil Hubbard?
We can back him in the place market, in the 4 to be placed market.
Yeah, we've got about 40 minutes left of the show. Let's get some action in.
Yeah, so Autumn Twilight is 4.44, which in fractional terms is 7 to 2. If you just hover over the price, it tells you what it is. If you're not,
you need to get a shift on Neil.
Decimals, and then we will have £20 on him. On that,
it looks bleak
Super.
There as well.
It does look bleak.
Is it raining on top of
down in Berkshire? It looks like one of those.
This might just get the meeting finished job, isn't it?
It looks like absolute sometime, doesn't it? Okay, they're off and running.
I hope the cameraman can close in a little bit.
Now Mujbar
was a 7-length soft ground winner 2 starts ago. May have found the ground a bit too fast.
Now this is an interesting move. This is Jamie Spencer coming on his own down the stand side. Spencer ploughing at a lone farrow.
Oh, I hope you're right, Jamie.
Well, indeed. So we've just gone on for the places. He's gone away from the pack. He's come stand side. No one's done that, I'd wager, at the meeting so far. They're tightly bunched then on the far side. St Lawrence just about taken up with Percy's Lad. He's a big prize. Ticked all the boxes for Eve Johnson-Houghton. Just looking for the big guns at the moment. Lanakesh is there. Mujbar right out on the ground. I guess
Jamie still managed to hold him up last on his own.
He's holding him up behind absolutely nothing, but he's still last. Yeah, it doesn't look like that move's going to pay off, actually. This could be
right, he's riding the Lanakesh already.
He's out to 100.
Now, Mujbar back on soft ground. Has Dane O'Neill left this too late? Because he's still on the bride. I'll tell you what, Mujbar could be the one here, guys. I'm just looking for Lanakesh. He's absolutely gone.
Existent is finishing.
St Lawrence Gap's going for it. Look, if this is going to be an absolute boil over again, I think, isn't it? Percy's Lad, you've got to be on the pace here. As we said, will they get too far back? St Lawrence's Gap, now it's starting to collapse a little bit. Here comes Mujbar for Stephen Hughes. I tell you what, he's eyeing out there. I'll give him a big one in the studio. Dane O'Neill's ridden the peach, hasn't he? Percy's Lad's up there. He's going to be one. Oh, Mujbar. Back on soft ground. Go on, Mujbar. This is the lucky 15. Just punch him out. Percy's Lad's coming back. Look at the others. Nastasi up there for third. And he's got it. Aye, my goodness gracious
What's the
me.
last leg again?
Stephen Hughes got that at 9s. I tell you what, we're dictated to by the racing. We improvise here on Betfair Live. We love a hook. Stephen Hughes, you just become the star of the show. Into 5-1, he had in at 9s. Neil Hubbard, that must have gone massive in running.
Yeah. Only as high as 15 in running, Mujbar. But Percy's lad as low of 1.53, so he hit 2-1 on in running. But Lanakesh, the lay of Lanakesh.
He absolutely hated it, didn't he?
Yeah,
it's the right thing.
Listen, I think this is what I said. I just couldn't picture Roger Varian going on to Angus Gold and saying to, the racing manager, and up to him saying, I was totally wrong. I think he can bottom horses, can't he? So it's, I don't know, look, he's a genius trainer.
Yeah. It's nothing to do with...
I
mean, that was absolutely zero to do with the trip as well, wasn't he? He was beaten at halfway. There's either something wrong or he just couldn't pick his feet up out of that ground.
Slow motion finish is something we love to say, but that really was it, wasn't it? We'll get the race time for you. It's going to stick out. We've got one last race, the 4:10. The old horses are going to be ploughing through the mud.
There's like a group of probably half a dozen of them that they weren't that well strung out, but those half a dozen were well clear of everything else.
Right,
as well.
let's just concentrate on this lucky 15 now, guys, because the last leg, you're all out there screaming, saying, "What's Stephen Hughes on? I want to be with it."
Come on, what is it?
It is Cobra de Mai in the 350 at Cheltenham. Woohoo! We're warming up, and it's been smashed up in the betting.
No, it was smashed up on the boards earlier in the week. It's drifted a little bit now, but the trainer was very positive about it.
Is it going to go off favourite, Neil Hubbard? Let's get the market up then. Stephen's excited out there. We'll talk about ways that Stephen maybe could get out of this with hedging if we wanted to do something like that. Stephen, let us know how you're feeling out there. Are you looking for some dangers?
Yeah, so he is joint sort of third favourite at the minute. So Cobra de Mai 7.4, Man of the Mountain 6.2, Clough Cap 7.2, Frodon 6.6. And then, sort of those four, because then Coggery and West Approach are both 9, and then it's double figures. So there's sort of like a big four, if you will, at the minute, who are sort of dominating the top of the market.
Well, we've got to talk about Cobra de Mai, Keels, haven't we? Let's start there before we go for Neil Hubbard's trade. We're thinking that he's just a horse, isn't he? That when I saw him have his comeback 7th, I was like, well, they always try and nick one at Cheltenham with him, don't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's a horse that rarely gets his ground, isn't he? Again, he's gone through the entire last year with the ground just being bottomless, and he needs it decent.
Yeah, he does.
He won here previous season, and I think I don't think the trainer was very happy with him getting thumped, but he did win by 13 lengths off a mark of 142. He went up to 153, and then a year or so in the wilderness, but then. Good to soft, good to soft. That's not really what he wants. He wants decent ground. Whether he's this time of year horse, I would wonder.
But his win was at April at the April meeting.
But then you have to think to yourself, well, hang on a minute. He knows he wants the good ground. As the ground is good, let's get as much work into him as possible. And
was it the rain that blunted him last time? But I always thought it was going to be about the November.
He doesn't want soft
like
ground. He had he had no headgear on last time either, did he? So I mean, he's back in the tongue tie and cheek pieces. So
I was trying to do the maths in my head of what this lucky 15 might be as well, Stephen. I'm sure you know about that out there. So listen, we've got a social comment. Right from the start from Stephen Hughes about what he was doing. He's gone bang, bang, bang. The 4-timer is absolutely on. Neil Hubbard, are you with this or against it?
I like Cobra de Mai, in terms of the most likely winner. My play was just going to be to probably lay Frodon in running, to be honest.
Let's get that on, shall we then? Why? Last year's winner, yeah? Was he last year's winner?
Frodon.
No, the traditional won it last year, sorry, didn't he?
Yeah, just I'm not wonderfully convinced by the trip for him. I don't think last year was his finest hour through all of his races. So I think...
Really?
Yeah. Frodon. He's probably like half...
Fourth to Min.
Yeah, it was 15 length fourth, though, wasn't it?
He's probably about £5 or £6 off of his best RPRs.
He was beaten by Forest Beeham, wasn't he, in the Old Roan, which runs tomorrow.
That turned into a bit of a...
There's no fences, and the flat, the dual purpose horse won it. He then came out and disappointed behind Lost in Translation, was never going in the Betfair Chase. And if you held that against him, then because he came out against it, didn't he, in January, and beat Keeper Hill quite nicely, and then he wasn't disgraced.
Yeah, but I mean, he was miles better than Keeper Hill.
Yeah, I know, but that was just a bit of a soft race he had.
I mean, that was back to form, wasn't it?
We all no, he wasn't back to form. No, he wasn't really back to form, was he?
I can't have that, Kills. He's run to his mark there. He's run to his mark. He's run. In fact, we've given him 167.
And what was he running? What was he
running? He's a 168 horse.
What was he running over? He's much more than that. He's much more than that at his best.
Well, he was 171, 175 at his best. He was.
Yeah. Well, so
But
he's,
his
so he's
official
7 grand,
rating
he's
is
7 grand.
168, isn't it?
Yeah, his official rating is 168. He's also going 3 mile. I mean, he's only won over the trip once. He doesn't want it really. He doesn't really want the trip.
Well, when he last ran over 3 miles, it
Given
was
Chunk-
bottomed by Lost in Translation. But before that, he beat Elegant Escape. Was
Yeah,
that
he
when he was
beat
just on a
Elegant
roll
Escape. He
then?
was just he was on a roll. He was at his absolute peak.
Getting
I
juicy,
think, at the
isn't it?
time. But he wasn't giving absolute chunks of weights away in a handicap to horses that may be way better than their mucks.
Well, let's concentrate on that.
Which
He
is-
is keeping. I think he's keeping 4 out of the handicap, isn't he? One that we both like. But Man of the Mountain, who's been on a serious roll, Cloth Cap, Perfect Candidate, and Vivas are all out of the handicap. Okay, so you were going to Leif Road on. Did we get that trade on?
I'm just about to until you started going off on one about how brilliant he was. But,
Until we took your thunder away. Let's
well,
get a trade on.
I just think because he's going to. We know what his run style's like as well, so he's going to be on the front end. I know there's a couple in here who can also do the same, but that's where he sort of plies his trade at the front end. So I'm not saying we have to lay. So he's currently around 6.8 to lay. So you have to lay him around 6-1. In all of his defeats, in all of his races, he's always traded shorter in running. So I think that we can probably look to lay him at probably about half that price, just before the petrol gauge probably hits empty. So I'm going to
thinking about exactly how the race is going to play out then.
Yeah, so I'm going to put in to probably lay him at around 3-1, which is 4 in fractional terms, and we'll look to take a £25 bet on him there. I'll confirm that bet. It's obviously unmatched because his price is much bigger. So because
She's
of
only
that,
got one way of riding this horse, hasn't she, really?
yeah, exactly. And so we've put in for him to hit around 3-1, and if he does, hopefully our lay will be matched in there. So, but in terms of most likely winner, I think I was sort of between Cobra de Mai and Cloth Cap probably as the two.
Because there's going to be another team play here, I think, because
Well,
Kills and me both
we've
like
got to
Cloth
back
Cap.
this, and we like Cloth Cap.
Yes.
It's sort of similar to Cobra de Mai, really, in that last year he just never had his ground. But
He was called a few names, Cloth Cap, wasn't he?
he
Was it
called a few
Doncaster?
names, yeah. I just don't think he picks up on decent on soft ground. Just he just doesn't like it. But you know, in terms of Racing Post ratings, he actually matched his previous best.
It wasn't disgraced, was he?
Even though he didn't, even though he doesn't like it. Now,
It wasn't disgraced at the festival,
yeah,
Kills.
yeah, he wasn't disgraced. It was probably one of his worst rides. He had better ones than that.
It was
He actually traded, I think, at quite a short price when he was third at Ascot in November. But he just doesn't finish his race that well on soft ground. And so hopefully Jonzo has got him nice and fit to take advantage of some faster ground.
Well, that's my sole worry about him is first time out, because he's never won first time out, and in fact his worst performance last year was when he was told off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
by
hopefully
Optic.
you just learn a bit more about them, and they're probably hoping for targets later on in the season.
Well,
and
They've got to start getting going with him, haven't they? Because he's in the Tremor Heavy.
well, of course they have. He's very Hemscover, right? He's
Third
been
in the Scottish
Scottish
National.
If they want him to get into a
Grand
National,
National.
he's got to go out the best
Exactly.
part of a stone. So,
And let's
and
face
he won't
it, Trevor
be doing that
is
in heavy ground.
Trevor is he's in senior years, Trevor, isn't he? So
It's interesting that
we
he's kept
want to
him.
get this guy to the national.
It's interesting that he's kept
Finish
him.
him off, yeah.
What I'm saying is this guy. This is not a 2 or 3 year. We want
No.
this. He's got to start
Yeah,
taking
and-
that not
and-
handbrake off, but
No,
he's
but-
got to get the absolute petrol into him now. And we've got to go, haven't we?
Yeah, and it's interesting that out of all of the number of horses that he actually sent to the sales over the past months or whatever, that he's elected to keep this one.
I can honestly see this developing into a Grand National horse if it all clicks for him. And you're right, Kills, about the ground. I like him. 136 is a mark he can definitely win off. He's slightly out of the handicap, of course, but if they need to start targeting his better racing now. I'm with you on that. And the other one I like in this, guys, is Cogri. But before we get to Cogri, who's just won this 2 years ago, nothing in the race last year.
Oh, he's a lovely old boy.
Let's
isn't
get
he?
the cloth cap on, shall we?
Yeah, so Cloth Cap is 7.8 at the minute, so just shy of 7-1. So we'll add that to our bet slip, 7.6 he is now, and we'll have £20 win on him at 7.6.
Doncaster nil Hubbard. Okay, let's talk about Cogri. He is the beat. This is the horse that's running anywhere this weekend, I guess. If you've got one horse for a race, this is his, isn't it?
Well, this is his fifth go at it.
Yeah,
and obviously he won it 3 years ago now.
2 years ago, 3 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
3 years ago, well done.
3 years
Paul
ago
Kealy.
now, and I
Not
think he's been
finished with
second,
yet.
I think he's been in second and third, and he loves it. He's £3 higher than last year. He's facing younger, progressive horses, but he does come out and he puts his best foot forward, and he very rarely misses a step when it comes to the jumping, and that's why he's so consistent.
In the
around
early part of his career, he used to make the odd error.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then he got it just right,
Gets
didn't
it
he?
right. He gets
Yeah.
it right for this track in particular. So,
Yeah.
so he's got a chance. I can't
Whether
say,
the November meeting might be his absolute peak.
Yeah, I'd be. I just wouldn't be. it takes some gloss off the race if he won it for me, because there's some interesting horses in it.
Well,
maybe that's a bit cynical. I don't know.
Let's talk about the age of winners actually in this. No horse in double figures has won this in the last 10 years, so that's against Coggery. If you're looking at Kevin Morley's excellent trends column every day in the paper, he would be putting a line straight through Coggery. Why? Because you can't be older than 9, basically. 7 to 9 is the age range you want to be with. So you're looking at your cloth caps, your Man of the Mountains. Let's talk about Man of the Mountain then quickly, Keels. He's on an absolute roll. I think he's won his last, every completed start over fences, he's won. He unseated the other one. The Banger race he won, I was getting ready. I thought, so hang on a minute, can they just potentially have a Ladbrokes Trophy horse here? But that has taken some knocks.
It's taken some knocks, hasn't it? Yeah, I mean, I thought Captain Tommy was
terrible at
shaped really well there, and then he was awful. Wincanton, you got your tons.
I was in there somewhere.
But yeah, he was. It was that would worry me a little bit. And but you can't knock a horse who keeps winning. I mean, every time he's completed a chase, he's won.
Yeah.
And he does. He took it up like 3 out or something at Bangor, didn't he? And he was
just outstayed.
He was always going to win. He was always going to win. He was in command. So yeah.
He could potentially be the greatest flyer.
And he's one of the younger horses. My theory is that there are definitely other ones. Well, there's one Cobra de Mai we know is much better than his mark if he returns to his form, and another in Clock Cap who I'm very much convinced is better than his mark if he gets on good ground. So Man of the Mountain would be, down my pecking order.
Absorbing handicap, isn't it? Before we go to a couple of others, Neil Hubbard, how's it shaping up?
Yeah, just very quickly, just to switch codes very quickly. The race over in France, the
250.
The Criterium de Saint-Cloud was won by Mark Johnson.
Ooh,
Gear Up.
Oh wow,
the Acorn
really?
winner. Yeah, so he won that at 28 to 1.
Where was he? Was he behind One Ruler?
New Mandate in the Royal Lodge. So,
right.
Yeah.
There's that Doncaster form advertised again.
So Man of the Mountain, the sort of horse who's been winning during the summer months, 5.1, really solid at the head of the market. Little bit of money for Sensolano.
There's a bit of love for this yesterday. I spoke to a couple of people about this. Noel Williams, she's a mare, course winner.
Yes, so she's into single figures at the minute. Frodon, pretty steady. Cobra de Mai, pretty steady. Cloth Cap, a little bit weak now.
West Approach is the other one, Keels, of course, second to the conditional in this race last year. He's one of those, isn't he?
He's just a complete nut job, and it depends on what mood he's in.
Yeah. Colin Tizard's horses have not started how they wanted to.
No, they haven't. I mean, last year he was made favourite for this and was second to the conditional, and he thought, oh no, it's another one he's dogged it out of, and then he got absolutely smashed off the boards in the November meeting at Act Up, and then reverted to type afterwards.
He went to hurdles then, didn't he?
He's I mean, he's in the brother or half brother to Disselcrack, is he not?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Just very quickly, back to Honest Vic. If people were taken by that in that Pertemps qualifier, he's 20s for the Pertemps final at the festival.
Okay, happy days. So, loads of anti-post quotes coming in for both the flat and over jumps as well. What a day we've had here on Racing Post Live. It could get even better for Stephen Hughes if his fourth leg timer goes in. Cobra de Mai, Stephen, all the best. We will call it for you if he's anywhere near the front. And in fact, he is going to take front rank over the first fence. It's going to be Frodon as expected with Coggery. They come up. Cobra de Mai pings in on the outside in third. Man of the Mountain in fourth. West Approach on a going day thus far away. He's travelling. Cloth Cap on the inside in fifth. Looking back, Vivas out the back. Sensualano, not so great there. Out the back also as well, Captain Chaos for Team Skelton, the second string there. And Bob Marler out the back as well. Kealy, what sort of pace are they going?
Honest, I think. I think that it's going to be, a reasonable gallop. It's going to take some getting. Obviously, Frodon just gets himself into a rhythm and away he goes. But I don't think there's been too many. There was one slight mistake there.
It's Vivas, I think.
Is that Vivas?
Yeah, it is on the inside.
Was it not Bob Marler?
It's Bob Marler
on the outside. I think Bob Marler had a bit of a...
He's in the midfield on the outside. Captain Chaos and Sensualano right outside the back. It's Vivas that isn't travelling at the moment, guys.
Yeah, Cloth Cap's going all right there, sort of on the inside. Bit of a slow one there, but there's a long way to go.
Yeah, but he jumps like a stone chaser, doesn't he? They don't tend to fly.
Richie McLernan in these Cheltenham handicaps, you can tell that John Joe's has schooled him. One of the best jump drinkers of all time. Yeah. Get on that inside and then peel out with free go.
Yeah, be quiet, round on the inside.
Just hunt him round on the
sort
inside.
Of out
That's
the way.
exactly what he's doing. So Frodon and Cobra de Mai. I'll tell you what, Paul Kealy. I don't even see Cobra Demai do this too often.
Yeah, did he not do that when he won as well?
You should know. You were on him. You said, didn't you?
No, I wasn't.
It was at the April meeting. It was Rocky's Treasure he beat, and soon Prominent led 3 out.
Yeah, so he can be ridden prominently. I think they needed to get him they needed to get him reasonably well handicapped. He finished his races fairly strongly.
I've just always had him as one that comes there on the bridle 3 out or something. And when he was placed behind at a conditional, sick behind a conditional at the festival, they waited with him.
I mean, I'm not sure I want to be going head to head with Frodon all the way.
Centilano's not jumping at all. But you can see
there's plenty not jumping. Cogri's dropped. Is that Cogri that's really
Cogri's having a shocker. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's rowing away, isn't he? Sam Twiston Davis, Cogri not on a game
Man of
day.
the Mountain made a bit of a mistake there.
Bob Marler's making a nice move. I know that Warren Greattricks thinks there's a good handicap in this. When he won over fences last year, I think I wrote up that race, ding ding, in the gallery, and I'm pretty sure that Warren Greattricks said one day I will get a decent one out of it. I always thought it would be somewhere like Doncaster, but he has one here at the track.
I think I backed him in the Kim Muir. Was he placed in a Kim Muir?
He was indeed, last year? Absolutely. Yeah. So could the Kim Muir
Cogri's been pulled up.
Cogri's been pulled up.
I'll tell you what, Cogri's been pulled up then. Okay, something not right with Cogri. Then we hope all's well there with Nigel Twiston Davis' stable stalwart. Vivas off the bridle as well. Captain Chaos is gone.
Captain Chaos was predictable. He's a soft ground horse who needs a few runs.
Let's have a market check. Neil Hubbard with the circuit to go.
Yeah, really positive for Man of the Mountain, who's 3.8. He's been
tanking.
Yeah, he's been travelling generally okay. He made a mess of one, but in the main he's been generally okay.
I'd be very happy with Cloth Cap, Paul Kealy.
Yeah, he's going fine for me.
Frodon and West Approach are next, sort of like tit for tat in the market there, but Cloth Cap very close behind them. So
Cobra Demai just fiddling 1 or 2 out there at the moment. He's not quite as fluent, but perhaps up against Frodon, you're always going to look like you're fiddling a little bit.
Well, this is it. Do you really want to be eyeballing a horse like Frodon all the way?
So perhaps they think
take something out of you, because he doesn't miss a step, does he? That's the thing.
I don't know. Could this be one of these Cheltenham races where they just burn them off out the back, take them out of their comfort zone? West Approach kills. He's going really well.
He is, but he does, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, does he? I don't know. He's got a lot of peas in his form.
Sometimes he does, and then he's suddenly not going very well.
Centilano's recovered. Bob Marler's now taking a little blow.
I think Frodon's just going really nicely.
I keep coming back to Cloth Cap, guys. He's going particularly well.
He's going very nice. Depends, there'll be no excuses. If he's fit, there'll be no excuses. He was called a couple of names last year because he didn't go past, got beat at odds on at Donny. But at the moment
they're all fine.
Cobra Demise maybe just.
Oh, here comes a reminder. Stephen Hughes now looking out from behind the sofa. He is rallying, but it's not looking great at the moment. What's the market saying? We've got 7 fences to go, Neil Hubbard.
Yeah, Man of the Mountain is your market leader with Cloth Cap and Frodon next best, followed by West Approach and Centilano.
6 in with the play. I think we can say that unless Bob Marler really fills his lungs again. At the moment, Frodon, have you seen a better jumper so far this year? Unlikely. He's absolutely exhibitioned them so far. Will he last home? Cobra Demai. He's just coming off the bridle slightly. Now they're starting to make a move, Paul Kealy. They're clustering up and Cloth Cap observing from the back.
Just typical Richie McClernand. He just
just wants to jump a little bit better, doesn't he?
Just, whether that's a wake up.
I think it was just he has responded. Cobra Demai, unfortunately, now looks to be going backward, guys.
Yeah, Frodon.
Dream is over.
There's always one that kills you, isn't there? And that's it.
It's always one, Stephen.
He had was it a Yankee though?
That was a lucky 15.
He nearly went there. Cobra Demai, is he off? No, he's sat. That's the end of Cobra Demai.
He's got the doubles and the trebles.
Okay, we've got 3 fences to go, boys. We've got 5 in with a serious shout. Will Frodon last home? Neil Hubbard is wanting to lay him in running. How's that looking, Neil?
Yeah, that's been matched. Man of the Mountain is clear favourite now, really.
Going really well, and he stays strongly. West Approach last year's second on the inside. Not asked for nothing yet. Cloth Cap. Now Centilano pulls to the outside. This is the trickiest fence when they're going at speed. 3 out. Paul Kealy.
I'm just hoping the Cloth Cap is going as well as I think he is. I think Man of the Mountain might be the one to beat.
We're looking good for the places.
I half expect Frodon to get tired, but you don't know.
Yeah, well, Centilano's now cracked with 4 in it. Man of the Mountain, what's he going to find? This is his acid test. Shaking the reins. He's back on the bridle. Frodon then turning in. Oh, my goodness gracious me. Bryony Frost, he's not moved a muscle yet. Cloth Cap now being given a hurry up. Will the first time out record still go badly for him? West Approach is absolutely cruising on the inside. Last market check. Neil Hubbard.
Yeah, West Approach just about favourite, but it's between him and Frodon.
Come on then, Frodon. He's still not been asked. My goodness gracious me. Is he going to lump this weight? Richie McClernand now killing him, but Frodon comes up 2 out. Best of all, now she asks him to go. What will he find? It's between him and West Approach, unless Cloth Cap can find a couple of lengths. Kills this last.
It's Frodon. He's an amazing horse, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely fantastic.
You cannot take anything away from him. What a horse he is.
He's
He is.
being dwarfed by West Approach. We weren't sure about the trip. He's just seen it out. She's able to boss the race. He was eyeballed early on, wasn't he? And he's seen it out best. Is she going to celebrate? Or she keeps it cool over the line, but you can bet in your post-race quotes you're going to see in the members club that Bryony Frost will wax lyrical after that. West Approach on an absolute blinder, second 2 years running, and Cloth Cap back in third. Keep that project going. We know he's better after a couple of runs.
Needed it, didn't he?
But he just needed it, and I'm not sure whether those Cheltenham fences are for him, Kills, as well. Let's concentrate on the 1, 2, 3 though. Frodon, where do we go from here?
I love Frodon.
Back up to graded company now. Would they have a go at the Ladbrokes Trophy, do you think?
3 mile 2 furlong at Newbury.
You wouldn't put it past him though, would you? He's such an aggressive trainer.
You wouldn't put it past him, but he's going up another 5 for that, isn't he? Running off 169. I mean, he's just going to keep bringing him back here. I mean, why not bringing him back to Cheltenham every time you go?
So what's he going to? So what's he got ahead of him? Caspian Caviar too high?
Well, the big ones. Why not? I mean, it takes a horse and a half to get past.
Just
him,
get them out of the comfort zone.
Yeah. I mean, he's just a fantastic horse, isn't he?
Yeah,
I always kick myself when I don't back him because I love him. Like, you know what I mean? And he was probably one of my best winners from Cheltenham a couple of years ago.
Still just an 8-year-old.
Yeah, he's staggering what he's achieved, really. Yeah, when you think about it.
That is, just having a look for his career record. That's his 28th run over fences for the Magic 13 up. Neil Hubbard, what did the market say then?
Yeah, he hit a high of 8.5 in running.
Wow, when was that then?
Yeah, West Approach hit even money.
Probably turning in. I had some love in my ear for West Approach turning in, I think.
Cloth Cap hit a lower 4.2. I thought Cloth Cap ran okay. Like you were talking about the fences there, Dave, and perhaps not being for him. He just missed maybe a couple down that back straight on the second circuit at sort of a key time.
There's a result.
Shuffled him back a couple of lengths, and then he had to sort of make that up again.
So look, we're back at Cheltenham, aren't we? Prestbury Park. Frodon goes and lowers the house down. Hard luck, Stephen Hughes. It came to an end. You're lucky 15, but what a day you must have had. But I'm sure you've been with them all singly as well. West Approach Kills. He'll be back for the November meeting.
Yeah, he'll be back at the November meeting and another 3 mile handicap chase.
He'll be one of the fads, won't he?
And he'll do the same. Maybe he'll win. I mean, look how far he's beaten everything else.
Just trying to see what sort of weight he was getting there off Frodon. He was getting well over a stone, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Ran about 17 pounds. So he's run really, really well, and he's a very, very doused. And Cloth Cap, something like the Grimthorpe chase for him now, something like that.
Yeah, something. I think he definitely wants to go left-handed himself. I just think he wants fast ground. You ever look at him? He's actually covered in mud.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether it's been raining a bit there or not. It's not. I'm not making excuses for him. I think
that first time out record's not great for him.
I think he's run reasonably well. But yes, it looks like it is raining, isn't it? Because
one of those Cheltenham races, guys, where a lot of them were beaten after before halfway, wasn't it?
Yeah. Frodon, first show, 25s for the Gold Cup, 16s from 33s for the Ryanair.
So, okay, all right, there we go. So he's won that, of course, 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on... I mean, it looks like he's back in the form he was in. It depends on what they do with him, because obviously he's won a Ryanair and he's run.
Do you think he'd go King George?
He's run below his best. I wouldn't have thought so. I don't think
that's where he won last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think he particularly liked it round there. I really don't think he particularly liked it round
I just think they're so aggressive with their campaigning this horse. It's been
this is what I'm saying. It depends. It depends on just how much, because the year he won the Ryanair, he was reasonably fresh compared to the other year, to the previous year. So it all depends. But
did he go to Ireland for anything?
6th win at Cheltenham for Frodon. Thanks, Dan Walsh, for that. Okay, right. Well, that's us bidding farewell for now then. Until the November meeting, we will be back next month.
We've got another race.
We have got another race. I'm saying we're bidding farewell to Cheltenham.
I thought you were
Don't jump the gun, Kealy. Look, the bar's open.
I'm desperate for a pint.
I know it closes at 10, man, but come on. Don't worry. The curfew's been mentioned there. Okay, we've got one more race coming from your way. We're going back to Newbury just to make it easy for you. It's just got a real end of term feel about it, this race on the flat. Very much so.
The betting on this is absolutely bonkers.
The betting?
The betting on
this
let's
get to Neil Hubbard and find out exactly what it is on the exchange.
So there's only
bonkers.
What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 9 runners and it's 5.5 the field, so it's 9-2 the field. So you've got the favourite, and you'll laugh, Kips. 5.5. Alunak 5.8.
Well named lazy individual, isn't he?
Away he goes 6.2. Litigator 7. You can Glen 7.8. Raymond Tusk 9. Natural History 10.5. And Glencadam Glory 40s. So pretty wide open
Well, absolutely
honest.
wide open.
Yeah.
Okay, so Neil Hubbard before we got. No, come on, just wait for Neil. Let's get Neil to see if he's got a trade first. I know you're bursting. We've got one more race to go to, not just have a drink, but to tell us about this race. But what have we got, Neil Hubbard?
Well, predictably, I found this quite tricky. I quite like the 2 ex-French runners, Away He Goes and Litigator. They should be fine on the ground. There's a couple of interesting bits and bobs of form between the pair of them. It's not a particularly strong, but I'd be looking to maybe keep those 2 on side. But I'm not strong on how to approach this, to be honest.
Okay,
so
let's open up the
to
floor.
ideas.
It's come your way. The betting was bonkers, you said.
This is completely bonkers. Right, okay. You've got Kipps. He's joint favourite. He's getting £6 weight for age because he's a 3-year-old off the older horses. So he's carrying 8 stone 12. Our Lunac is carrying 9 stone 4. If this was a handicap, Kipps would be carrying 7 stone and £5. What on earth?
And he doesn't win, does he? He just doesn't win.
He's a dodge pot. He's been getting beaten. Okay, they're good handicaps, but he's running against group horses here. And okay, some of them might not like the ground. You can actually lay this horse, and I suggest you do this, Neil.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can
Here
lay this horse 4 places at 1.67. I mean, he's rated 90.
This is one of those races, isn't it?
Let's give you the official ratings. 112, 111, 109, 104, 104, 103, 97 and 90.
Yeah. So he's actually the lowest by some.
He's odds on to finish in the first 4. That is absolutely bonkers. He's had a really, really long season. This is absolutely bottomless ground. I think he finished last, and well, he just should finish last, really.
Happy days. So
1.67 to lay, added it to the bet slip. We'll take a £50 bet there, and so we've laid Kipps in that market.
You've been pretty lively today, I've got to say, but you have saved your best for the last, haven't you?
Well, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, wasn't it something like 18 to 1 this morning?
Wow.
I mean, I know Tom's tipped it, price-wise.
Yeah, well, Tom
He's
has
been
a few points.
It's been a high of 17.5 on the
17.
exchange.
I mean,
He's never run on heavy ground. He's
Well, he's got
soft.
form on soft ground. I don't think the problem. I don't think
They've kept
soft
him
ground
away
is a
from
problem.
fast ground, in fact.
But this is absolutely bonkers.
So
Do you know what they did with a similar type, though? And we mentioned it. Remember who was the horse that's now gone to Australia?
the Dondervie?
Yeah, they did the same. Remember how he ran in that Group 3 at Goodwin? We're like,
Oh,
what were
right,
they doing
yeah.
there? He's just a handicapper.
Why they could have gone for a handicap?
Yeah,
with
yeah.
it.
This is one of the cases where, you know what I mean, horses can win these races if conditions suit, etc.,
Yeah, yeah.
and they can be miles lower, but they're not going to be that price.
Yeah, I'll tell you what this stinks
Yes,
to me.
yeah, that's fair.
That's a great point. Le Dondervie, who of course was second in the Geelong Cup, trying to qualify earlier this week for the Melbourne Cup, now gone down under in the same colours. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Kipps goes down there.
Yeah.
You see what he did with Sir Dance a lot. In fact, it's Sir Dance a lot in these colours. I think he is. I think he might be for Kieran Mara and David Eustace now. He went down Sir Dancelot, who basically was called all sorts of names.
Sir Dragonet.
Sir Dragonet, sorry, not Sir Dancelot. Went
okay,
down
right.
under this morning for the Cox Plate, and the 100th running of the Cox Plate, and Sir Dancelot took it out looking like a completely rejuvenated character. It could well happen to Kipps. It probably won't happen in this grade. However, Huey Morris is like, well, we're not going to win one of these big handicaps. We're preserving his mark. We've had a good go at it. He doesn't fancy winning one. We may as well just let him take his chance now in group company. We know he's a group horse, so surely that's probably what he's been doing. It will be fascinating to see how he goes. Yeah. Who's your likely idea of the winner, Paul Kealy?
Well, one of my backs is, I think, in pure terms of stamina, was Raymond Tusk, who is...
Was he not the anti-post favourite?
He was 5-2 at one point. Really. He's now he's 9.8. I mean, I'm going to have to back him.
Ground?
Ground might be an issue, but I mean, one of his top RPRs when he probably didn't stay came in the Gold Cup, didn't it? I think it was the Gold Cup.
So he's 1-2-3 at Newbury, by the way, from 3 runs.
I had him
really,
as a...
really, he's got really good Newbury form.
Stays well.
It just depends on whether he handles the ground, but he's the second highest rated horse in the race. He'll be given 20 odd pounds.
You'll be hoping that Jamie Spencer doesn't do
Kipps.
an awesome sunrise on
well, he could be one of those where Jamie Spencer just sits quiet and never comes off the bridle.
Did we cite that horse in the last race, by the way? It came to the
no, it was absolutely tailed.
Yeah, a lot of people have been shouting at Spencer at the TV out there. When we spoke to David Musio, do you remember he told us about the Rolling Mile when we were going into that, and he said, I always tell my jockeys to go for the Rolling Mile. He's probably been riding to instructions there, Jamie, for those of you that are thinking, what on earth are you doing, man?
Well, he has no shortage of knockers, does he, when it comes to, when things don't quite go right. But
no, when you're a genius, you're also a little bit mad.
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. But
so most likely win a Raymond Tusk for Kills then, if he goes on the ground, back off a 2.85 late. I'll tell you what, he's going to have to be, that would be some performance if you can pull this out. I like Alunak. He's a horse that I don't really like, actually, but for this race, I quite like him.
Dislike Aluna.
Yeah,
you might
right.
win.
But it's picking your poison, isn't it? As Graham Rodboy famously says. And I just think that Alunak, this is the easiest spot he's been in for a while. Andrew Border's got a good record in this race, dead idiot in the same colours with Mirando last year, and he will, I think, enjoy this ground more than most.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are horses who will enjoy the race. Natural History,
yes,
is the second lowest rated in the race. I think has got a far better chance than Kipps.
He'll love the heavy ground, won't he?
For a start, he's just won 2 races on the spin, so he's a winner, and he's tough.
Yeah, Her Majesty's Natural History.
And is, twice the price.
Andrew Balding's second string.
Twice the price.
A couple of punters phoned me up about him yesterday and said he'll run well.
Yeah.
What about Away He Goes for Ishmael Mohammed and Jim Crowley? What a year Jim Crowley has had. This is the end of term Vill about this race, because again, Keel's on official rating.
7-2.
What's 7-2? Kipps?
It's 7-2.
Paul Kealy thinks it's absolutely mad. The betting on our final race here.
Honestly, the most ridiculous price I've ever seen in my life.
Cue a 5-length win.
It could easily happen.
I don't know whether we should be backing it or laying it.
If this wins, I'm never coming
back. The guys
back.
in the gallery are probably absolutely unloading on it, I would imagine.
This is one of the most ridiculous things. I promise you, it's the most ridiculous price I've ever seen of any horse in any race ever.
Listen, this is all going out on social media later.
Absolutely,
don't worry about that.
Chunks of weight from every single horse in the race.
What about Yukon Glen for Jim Goldie, friend of the studio?
Yeah, we love Yukon Glen. He's such a tough horse, isn't he?
Yeah.
He'll be out the way in the lead as well.
He doesn't mind soft and heavy ground, I don't think either. One of the pace angles. Glencadam Glory, Neil Hubbard, you're nearly yours on Race Day Live here. I think we can say that, can't we?
Yeah, I was quite sweet on him for the Ebor, and he didn't do anything wrong that day. He finished second that day. Conditions should be okay for him. I just doubt whether, I don't know, I just had him in mind for that big handicap like that. I think this is maybe shooting a little bit high for him here, albeit conditions and everything will be fine for him. But Yukon Glen's an interesting one for anyone playing on the exchange, because you think he's going to be probably the front runner in here. So he's definitely a sort of back to lay style option if you wanted to put in a bit of insurance there.
Do you want to call this one, Keels? It's the final race. You notice how I've waited until the very last race.
I'm not sure I'm very good on it. I'm not sure I'm very good on the colours of all of them.
Oh, you can get it up.
I'm just going to keep an eye on Kipps.
3-1.
This could be entertaining, couldn't it? Because they're making their way into the stalls in the final race here on Racing Post Live on Betfair Exchange. Hope you've enjoyed yourself out there today. Keels, I am actually talking, you know.
Sorry, mate.
I know the race hasn't started. There's what? Actually, in fairness, I won't throw to you too soon. I won't do the old.
It's 3.8.
We throw it to it. His skills is still. It's 11-4 now with the books out there. Unbelievable. Yukon Glen, solid second favourite. Alunak, the one I like. Neil Hubbard, you weren't so sure about this. Just.
I was sort of Away He Goes or Litigator, 2 ex-French runners who are now with Ishmael Mohammed and Roger Varian. I think they're both interesting because they've got the form on the ground in one shape or form. Away He Goes won last time on his UK debut, but before that, behind Scaletti, some interesting form there that he ran in that race with Sotsas and that.
Yeah.
And Litigator's just an interesting one as well. This was before the market was turned upside down, mine. So.
What a day we've had. What a flat season we've had. Last flat race here on a while, I would imagine, on Racing Post Live. We'll be back jumping all the way in November. But for now, let's go to the 410. And Paul Kealy, yes, I did say, Paul Kealy, commentating.
The caller. I can't even tell what's in front.
They have jumped off, believe it or not.
You're going to have to do it, mate. I don't know what the colours are.
Natural History in the lead.
Natural History near the front, isn't it? I just want to keep an eye on
Glencadam Glory coming up on the outside as well to join him.
Alunak is there. He's a little bit keen. Keels, I'm not going to... Come on, I've got to jump in. Come on, I know you're just trying to get...
a big white face? I'm trying to work that out. What's the colours?
That's Litigator. I can't believe I'm helping him out here. This is ridiculous.
Sorry, that's Alunak next to him, and that's Natural History in the middle, and that's one of the... Glencadam.
Where's Kipps?
Right, Kipps is the grey. It's tracking Alunak. They're all going well at the moment. They're not going any pace at all at the moment. Kipps, if anything, is a little bit keen.
This is improving.
Glencadam Glory is taking it up. Well, I'm trying to make an effort now, aren't I?
It's first time for everything, Kills.
Natural History in second. Yukon Glen lobbing along. I forgot the name of the thing.
Raymond Tusk.
Again. Litigator on the rail. Raymond Tusk all going well, but again, they haven't really started racing yet.
Well, one's gone on now, Kills.
One's gone on, yeah. Glencadam Glory's gone on. It's only by a couple of lengths, but they're not really going much pace at all. Whether this is going to suit something that's going to be held up out the back like Kips, I do not know, because it's not much. It's not much of a test at the moment. It will be at the end of the day. But
is this the first time Holly Doyle's ridden Kips, by the way?
It might be. I mean,
you've not factored that into the equation.
She's
going to find 10 lengths.
She's brilliant, but I mean, it's not going to change the weight he's got on his back. I mean,
she's riding it cold, Kills, right out the back.
She is riding it cold, but this is a horse that's been struggling. Hasn't been able to win a handicap off marks in the 80s. Now running off levels, roughly, basic, against horses in the hundreds. Doesn't make sense.
They're turning in. I expect it to come pretty much off the rail.
Glen Cadham is again, still making it. Natural History goes well.
Neil Hubbard, any ripples?
Kips is still your market leader, but Natural History is sort of joint now.
Natural History's he's still going.
Yeah, he's cruising. Alanak's off the bridle.
Alanak's off the bridle.
Where's Kips? Come on. He's rowing away.
She's starting to row.
Yukon Glen's still going.
Yukon Glen is
not
going
done with
well.
Kips,
Natural History is the one that is going by far the best.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think,
Yukon Glen's just had a little look.
I'd love to see
Yukon's going nicely.
Now Kips is off it. What's he going to find?
He's not going to find anything, is he? There's no chance whatsoever.
What a top four we laid him
Look
for.
at Yukon Glen.
Okay, so away he goes. Is there Yukon Glen, Kills?
Yes, what a horse that is.
Give him the office, Mulrennan.
Oh, he's countering right.
He's looking round. He's eyeing.
What will he find?
Natural History's digging deep.
Natural History is really tough.
Come on, Yukon. I think Paul Mulrennan's been really clever here, hasn't he? He's waited till the last minute. Up he goes, Yukon Glen. Beautiful horse that he is, the 7-year-old. Takes out the
really
last.
nice horse. I think Kips might annoyingly finish fourth.
Yeah, he's going to finish fourth.
No.
Yes.
Paul Kealy staked his professional reputation on not finishing the first four, and he runs.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Don't get me wrong. It was quite. I mean, anybody who backed it at that price, please go to the doctor. I'll phone your doctor at this time at the moment. But come on, what on earth is going on?
Yeah,
how does anyone back a horse like that at that price?
He's actually,
he's run a fine race. He's run way above himself.
You'd wonder why.
And he's got beaten miles. That's the point.
Let's take a serious chance. If you were thinking about the ride now, you've seen him run on like that, you're like, well, should he have been a little bit closer? Stone last.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't go very fast, did they?
They didn't.
That was the
what a ride, though, from Paul Mulrennan.
Yeah. I mean, what a lovely horse he is. I mean, this horse was out of the game for 2 years, with a bad injury. And he's come back. He's beaten Logician. He's come out and going to come back again.
Jim Goldie, you can hardly understand him anyway. In this hysteria, imagine what sort of language you're coming out with.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, he's had a great year. So he won the Old Borough Cup. He came out and won the what was it called? The one, the Cumberland Lodge. Yeah. Rearranged Cumberland Lodge. It was at York.
Beat Logician.
And he's had an absolutely
He was
brilliant
fifth in an Ebor as well.
And he's come back,
Natural History, a word for him. Potential cup horse next season. Goes up in the weights now. As a result, in second. A litigator Neil Hubbard.
Cup horse I don't know, but a nice.
He obviously stays.
He does stay well.
Or do you think he might go flying over Mendo?
Yeah, Timber Topper. Yeah, could be.
Okay, what an exciting race that was. Thank you, Paul Kealy, for the call.
That was a good effort, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, the first two furlongs, you're basically just looking for one horse. But, but apart from that, it was sterling.
It just wasn't going to win.
We can see in the corner of our eyes, just as they wrap up the terrestrial TV coverage, we can see Frodon. Well, was that the highlight of your day? Get your comments in. We do read them after the show, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook Live. If you're on YouTube, do like the stream. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Racing Post Live with the Betfair Exchange. Been fast and furious today. 9 races. You can nearly get to the bar, man.
I can nearly get to the bar. If you are still watching, I'm pretty sure Surrey Pride will win the next for Joe Tweet and Jamie Spencer at Newbury.
You think Spencer will come stand side? Or?
I don't know. I think he's going to be one. I think it's literally going to be one of them where he wins like that, a bit like Paul Mulrennan did on Newton.
It's like watching jumpers, isn't it?
And a little bit of word for Calidad in the last the bumper at Cheltenham.
I like Maysong. Oh yeah, the Harry Whittington horse. Just tell us about that.
Apparently quite keen on it. He could have ridden quite a few horses at Kelso, but stayed there.
Love it, Kills. We're going off show, but Kills is still giving you potential winners along the way. Mason in the last swimming at Donny as well as Dunlop's Neil Hubbard. Great to have you along.
Yeah, it was good fun today.
We've had a good fun, haven't we?
Yeah, we had 3 or 4 winning bets, 3 or 4 winning lays, showcased how to Dutch, so I think a couple of viewers maybe enjoyed that, as well as Paul.
Oh, I learned something.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's been good fun.
It goes to happy days. Thanks for coming down, Neil Hubbard. We'll see you next month for the Betfair Chase. I think that's our next meeting, isn't it? We'll see you next month, Paul Kealy. Mm-hmm. We've got some Cheltenham coming up as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
November meeting at Cheltenham. We'll be covering that. We'll be doing the Ladbrokes Trophy meeting. It's all happening here on Racing Post Live. Thank you for watching. I'm Dave Orton. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.